Whoa, turn that down. What the hell? Hey, what's happening, guys? Dave the Film Junkie here. What's happening? It is Friday. Oh, we made it. We made it through another week, guys. Oh, my God. We made it through another week and a grueling week. Where I'm at in Southern California. Holy shit, it is hot. I've been home for about 3 hours almost now. And when I got home, it was about 90 degrees in my apartment. And then, of course, I turned on the air and it's still like, it's like, I don't know. I think it just finally got to 79 degrees in here. So, geez, if I look a little glistening, I apologize. Anyways, what's up, guys? What's up, motherfuckers? Hey, in shadows, Ryan, Rowdy. What's going on, Niner? What's going on there, Marcus? Thanks, man. Wearing the fucking, of course, 89 bat symbol shirt. Yes, it's beautiful. I love it. Hello, Leo. How's it going? Greg. Hey, Shadow. Daniel. Cheers, man. Yeah, you got the Kraken. Ooh, he's releasing the Kraken tonight, huh? I mean, I'm telling you, when it comes to rums, that's a strong one. That's a strong one. I mean, it's like, that thing is, you can't see through that liquid, man. I've had some wicked hangovers on Kraken, so be careful, sir. Special K. Grueling is right, man. Yeah, we'll get to all that stuff. Eric, what's up? What's going on, everybody? I love that you're all here. Yeah, man. Thank you. Fridays. Hey, what's up, Nikki? It's been a while. And then, of course, Nick. Hey, what's up, motherfuckers? If you're Jason over at Twitch, well, I appreciate it. I'm a big fan of you being a big fan of me, bud. Big time. How you doing today? Well, like I said, it's hot. It's been a kind of a grueling week. I've already answered that, Eric. Jeez. My God, I answered that on the Sunday morning hangover. My God, you were there. Well, lots going on. That's for damn sure. You like my face? Good. That's good. There's Jose. Yeah, what's up, Film Junkie? Well, yeah, Junkie Nation. Well, not Film Junkie, but Junkie Nation. That might get the wrong. That might have like the wrong kind of a spin to it. I don't know. If it's like the Junkie Nation, I don't know. That might look a little bad. But anyways, speaking of you, Jose, of course, I'm watching the Giants. The Giants beating the Texas Rangers currently right now. They have to make up for it because they shit the bed last night against the Padres, even though they put up a pretty good fight. So, you know, the Giants in a rebuilding year, not doing that bad. Not as bad as I thought they were going to be doing. Jody's still on YouTube. Shocker! Did we all think that he was actually going to leave? Yeah, Junkie Nation. Yeah. I don't know. Junker League. So many names that we can have. I don't know. I think Film Junkie Nation, you know, you got to have that adjective right before, you know, the other one. I don't know. Is there yeah, Film Junkie. It's Film Junkie, not just Junkie. If you just have Junkie, you know, it has a whole new meaning. Just saying. What's going on, Jeffrey? Currently obsessed with Ghost of Tsushima. Couldn't miss the Vodka stream. Well, I appreciate it, Clay. Yeah, the Seattle. Oh, you're talking about the Seattle has a new. That's right. They have a new hockey team called the Kraken, right? Called Kraken. Is that what you're talking about? Junkies Unite. I mean, if you want to say Junkies Unite, that's totally fine with me. I'm perfectly okay with it. I'm perfectly fine with it. It's fine. So, and anyways, yeah, welcome to the. Oh yeah, I haven't even taken my first drink, but cheers, guys. Look at that. Of course, got the glass half full. It's actually probably more than half full, but cheers, guys. Seattle Karens, nice. You know, when it comes to Seattle, I mean, like for like a small chunk of my life, probably about 6 years of my childhood, I lived in Washington. So that's why I became a Seattle Mariners fan. And I think I've said this many times before that I was a Seattle Mariners fan before I became a Giants fan. Yes. I mean, you could call me a bandwagoner. You could do whatever the hell you want. Whatever. I've been a Giants fan for like a decade now. So that's okay. But obviously that's when they were winning World Series. So yeah, you can call me a bandwagoner. I don't care. It's fine. I love them now, and I'm currently watching them now. It's 4-2 against the Rangers. I mean, they're looking pretty good for a rebuilding year. But anyways, yeah, I lived in Washington for a while, for about 6 years. So I became a Seattle Mariners fan. And then, of course, Ken Griffey Jr. was like, he was my idol. I wanted I wanted to swing like him, even though I was right-handed. But you know what's funny though is like my brother and I, when we would like pitch against each other, it was always like it was Mariners versus Giants, and we'd always try to mimic the batting stances for each player. And you know what? I actually learned pretty good. We throw a tennis ball at each other. It wasn't like hardball, against the garage or whatever. And we'd always try to mimic the batting stances of the lineup of our favorite teams. And even though I wasn't like a lefty, I actually got pretty good as a switch hitter. I'm not gonna lie, got pretty good. Whose batting stance I really nailed was Jay Buhner. Jay Buhner's batting stance. If anybody out there remembers Jay Buhner, he had a very weird batting stance, just holding the bat like in front of him and like moving his fingers, and he kind of had an open stance. It was very odd, but he was a badass, and he had one of the best fucking right field throwing arms ever. Just saying. Nobody give some respect to Jay Buhner, man. Tell you, yeah, Ken Griffey Jr. though, he was the fucking GOAT for sure. Faux show, but yeah. Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, they're postponing like games and shit like that because of people are getting. I just don't get it though, because it's like, okay, you got these players that are wanting to play. This is their career. This is what they do, and all of a sudden, like people are just getting COVID, and everything. We had the Marlins, like half the staff got like COVID. And then there was something about like the Phillies or something like that, or the Orioles. I don't know. I just really hope that the season doesn't get canceled, because it's awesome to see Giants baseball on my TV right now, and I'm not going to get too distracted. Don't worry, guys. I mean, every now and again, you might hear me go, fuck, or yeah. I don't know. I think my favorite player this year is Yasty. He's kicking ass. Anyways. Cool. We got a Cardinals fan in here. Cool. So anyways, guys, yeah. When it comes to the whole Jody situation, yeah, did we really think that Jody was actually going to leave? Of course not. We said that many times. I said that on the last Film Junkie Live. Jarbo came in. We both agreed that it was all just a PR stunt. And I know I should watch some basketball too. I actually haven't watched any basketball since they're doing like the new style, doing it at Disney World or whatever. I should check it out. Oh, is that who got the COVID? Was Cardinals? Oh man, I'm just curious to see what happens with football, man. I mean, everybody's like waiting, like what's going to happen with football? It is crazy. I know we got to ignore Jody. I know, yeah, I know we do. But you know what? The thing is, though, even though we're giving him attention, that's good. Just don't click on his videos. Don't click on either of their videos, okay? Because even though we're talking about him, which it's just the way it is, sadly. Even though we're talking about them, just don't flock over to any of their videos. That's pretty much all we can really do. Yeah, there's like 17 players that tested positive. Crazy, absolutely crazy. It's like I just don't get what the is not. Oh yeah, well, Andy Signor is saying a lot of things. Oh yeah, I loved Randy Johnson. Fucking Randy Johnson. Hell yeah, the big unit. God damn, I can only imagine going up to bat against that guy. He was like 6'11", okay, just under 7 feet tall, and he threw over 100 miles an hour like most of the game. His fastball was 100 miles an hour. He was fucking amazing. Jesus Christ, it's crazy. Oh, it's up to 19 players now. Yeah, it's not looking good. I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, this is going to be a weird year. If you think about it, I know. I need to do more live watches. Don't worry, it'll happen. Oh, sorry, I clicked the wrong thing right there. Sorry. Yeah, more live watches I need to do. Yeah, I haven't done one in a bit since we watched Batman, right? Didn't we watch Batman '89? I feel like it's not centered. Here we go, centered. Put it centered on my chest. I'm telling you. I mean, and anybody that is wondering where I got my shirt, I made it myself. Okay. Because there is no dedicated Batman with the 3-spike tail shirt. So I was like, okay, I have a Teespring account, obviously. Shirts down below if you haven't checked those out already. And I just made it. I can't sell it, though, guys. Sorry, I can't sell it, but you could make it yourself. You know, it's easy to find this. Just type in this symbol with a PNG and then place it on a shirt. That's all I did. That's all I did. And I just had it for myself. So, you know, I can't sell it though. Yeah, because obviously copyright and shit like that. But even though you can do certain things, like, because I do have, you know, I have some designs of my own down there when it comes to Batman shirts and whatnot, you know, Harley Quinn and blah, blah, blah. But I think the fact that I can get away with that is because it's my own specific designs that I drew up in CAD. So I don't know. Yeah. So, you know, but yeah, when it comes to this, I was just like, all right, found the PNG file, placed it right on the shirt. There you go. Bam. You and Film Gob got to team up against Jody and Andy. Well, I mean, if there ever needs to be on 2-on-2, I think we'd probably be a good duo, I guess. But you know, I don't know if that's ever going to happen. Like I said, Andy, he blocked me. He does not like me. He DM'd me like machine gun DMs, and just like, and when I posted my video about his Fandom Wire article that I did not like because I half-assed that video. So I mean, I took it down. I kind of wish I did now though, because a lot of the things I said, will Batman be in Flashpoint? He kind of has to, right? When it comes to Flashpoint, I know Andy Muschietti, he, I guess, said something recently. Like, I saw a lot of things on the timeline today talking about his Flash movie. And I mean, it wasn't anything new that came about. I mean, he just basically said, it's got a lot of heart. He travels back in time to save his mom. That's about it. But I mean, what we got to remember with these movies, guys, just like Batman vs Superman, is like, hey, you know, these filmmakers, and this is what I loved about what Jay Oliva said on his JusticeCon panel. It's like, okay, yeah, we don't need a fully. I mean, obviously, when they adapt something from comic book to animation, they want to make it. They want to keep it. You know, especially when you title something, you know, Batman Year One, or you know, The Dark Knight Returns, or anything like that. You want to keep the same vein. You want to keep the same storyline, but you got to tweak some stuff. Okay. So, but when it comes to obviously the cinematic stuff, like what Snyder was doing, I mean, he was like, okay, let me take a chunk out of Birthright, Lex Luthor. Let me take a chunk out of Dark Knight Returns. Let me take a chunk out of Death of Superman. You know, so when it comes to Flashpoint, yeah, I'll be Batman in Flashpoint. Casual Batman will be Flashpoint. Could you imagine that? You know, Barry showing up to, you know, wherever the hell he is, and who the hell are you? You know, I don't know if that would be probably insane. I think that'd be a little insane. I don't know, but I think people would dig it because, you know, he feels left out. Everybody's talking about all these different Batmans, and Casual Batman's like, what the hell, man? Am I not saying it right? Okay, Muschietti. It's Muschietti. Okay, so there's a K in there, not an H. I shouldn't say Muschietti. It's Muschietti. Muschietti. Okay. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. You know how bad I am with names, 100%. So, no, when it comes to Flashpoint, I mean, well, look at what O'Connell said. Look what O'Connell said when he ran into Andy, you know, at the Birds of Prey, whatever the hell that he was doing. And he asked him, like, what's going on in Flashpoint? Are you going to have, I mean, I really want to see Jeff Dean Morgan's Thomas Wayne Batman, his Flashpoint Batman. I think we all do. And I think there's room for it, but just to throw that little, you know, just, and you get the Keaton Batman just showing up, you know, in his advanced age. I think that's pretty cool. I mean, when I heard that, I got really excited. I'm not gonna lie. So I don't know. We'll see. There's gonna probably be a lot of surprises in there. I've already watched Doom Patrol season 1. I need to start season 2. And I hear season 2 is like better. It's a lot of people are praising it for being better, like, than season 1, which should be, you know, now that Warner Brothers, HBO Max, it's really they're just really going, okay, we have a hit show here, a random R-rated team up superhero show. Well, superhero, you know. So I'm going to start, you know, and I still haven't watched the series of I still haven't watched the Watchmen series either. So there's some things I'm going to get to this weekend. Okay. I'm taking a 2-day break of at least live streams because I've been live streaming since last Friday. I've been live streaming every day for a week, guys. So I need to take a little break, I think, and just kind of catch up on some of that stuff. Yeah, see, even Scott's in here, and everybody. I mean, I'm Shot. Scott's. I almost said Shot. That's your new nickname. Scott is Shot. No, but congratulations to Scott and his new baby boy. I'm sure he's going to join the panel a little bit later, and we'll do a proper toast. But cheers, my friend. Just in case you can't make it. I mean, I get it. And now it's going to be, iffy when it comes to you joining the panel. But cheers, my friend. Glad everything's going well. When it came to the Killing Joke, yeah. I did not like the first half hour when they try to really change some stuff. But anyways, guys, all right, we're about 16 minutes into this. I'm going to go ahead and my guest is waiting backstage. We're going to go ahead and bring him in. Let me go ahead and okay. Hold on. I'm like sitting here drawing a blank here of what I want to like type out here. Sorry. I'm just like, it's been a long week. I tell you what. Okay. Let me just tweet out that he's joining the stream so people know. All right. Let's bring in our, let's see. Hold on a sec. Boop, 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 boop. Let me just make sure things are good here. Okay, everything looks to be good. All right. Oh. Got a donation. Let me answer the question first. What kind of promotion or apparel do you think HBO Max will use for Snyder Cut, and how much do you think they'll spend on promoting it? I think they're backing it up pretty good, to be honest. Perseus, I think they're backing it up pretty good. I think they're like 100%. If you look, I mean, remember when it was all happening and the Giants score 5-2. Anyways, when they were promoting it, like AT&T, their social media marketing was 100% behind it. So I think they're going to be doing some pretty good stuff in there. So don't worry about that. Anyways, guys. All right. So let's bring on my guest. He hosts a channel called Poindexter Lounge. Mr. Enosh. Am I saying your name right, sir?
It's Enosh.
Enosh. Sorry.
Yeah, a hard E.
Hard E. So not the soft E like I said. Enosh. It's Enosh.
I get that a lot. That's all right. As long as you don't call me by my evil universe edition, like Spock when he had a goatee. And stuff. So I once had a friend tell me, because I get called Enoch all the time.
Oh, do you?
We made up this joke that I'm the opposite. So when I have the facial hair, I'm just regular Enosh. But if I shave it off, that's the evil version of me in the mirror universe. That's Enoch.
It makes sense.
And I get to do evil things like, lead Snyder verses and stuff, Snyder cults.
Snyder cults. That's
Yes.
what we'll be talking about.
Yes.
Well, I appreciate you joining the stream, sir. I mean,
hey, man.
Let's face it, when it comes to the past week or so, I guess you kind of became a little bit of a hero, and we'll talk about that. I mean, I want to get your opinion on it and everything, but everybody's, of course, in the live chat is going, is loving the fact that you're here. They're all screaming out your name.
Awesome.
Probably throwing their undies at their webcams. Maybe watch out. Yeah. Yeah. But I must say though,
the slinky. What the heck? Where'd that come from? Come on, guys.
Seriously, don't throw slinkies at people. That can hurt. Relax.
Metal.
It is. But anyways, your background. I mean, do you live out of a toy store? Do you live out of a comic book store? I mean, I love your background. When I was watching your videos, I'm like, this guy has an awesome collection. I mean, you have a complete Star Wars wall, and then the other wall is full of everything. So
yeah, so that's 2 walls. That's 2 of the walls.
Yes.
You're not seeing the other 2 walls. And
I'm sure.
I'm surrounded. I am absolutely surrounded, man. No, you know what? This is the toy room. And it's funny you mentioned this. And it's funny that like this became like a topic of discussion this week, because when I first started doing YouTube videos, I was always trying to find the right background to use. It's like you try to figure out what that combination is. Everybody's kind of got their own thing. And I would do stuff with some toys here and there. And over the last little while, like when the channel started doing stuff, we went actually a lot to just our couch, because we did a lot of me and my family do the channel primarily.
Yeah, you could do like live watches and community stuff, I noticed you mix it up, which is
we do.
I like that.
Yeah, we do a lot of different stuff. I mean, we do reaction videos, we do watch parties, we do reporting on pop culture stuff, whatever's going on. And then I do some toy reviews too. And, like I'm a musician. So every once in a while I come in with my band and we do, something we did like during this whole epidemic thing. We did a live acoustic show from my living room when they kind of eased up on things and you could have 10 people together. So, so I brought like those people into my house and we did like a benefit for a local charity that we're part of. And so, so it was just fun. But yeah, so I did it for I did a lot of videos from my living room for the last couple of years. And with this whole new thing going on, I just started, I discovered StreamYard. And so I started doing that, and I just said, well, I'm going to set up here in the office because this is my office. I do have a desk, and it's like supposed to be a regular office, and then this was just kind of the background, and people are like, I dig it, it's cool. And so yeah, I love toys. I've loved toys my whole life. I guess I just never grew up, and I don't live in a toy store, and I don't live in a comic book store, but I keep them in business. So.
That's good. That's always good. Always support your local comic book store, guys. I mean,
right.
I wish I had one where I lived. When I 2 houses ago, I should say, I had one right around the corner, and shout out to Alfredo who ran that thing, but sadly it just couldn't stick around. I was really sad when I heard that he had a closed shop, because I would always go in there. And I mean, it's not so much that I wanted to, like, of course, like, hey, I want that, and the new issues of all this and everything. But, it was all about talking to him for like 2 hours about.
Dude, absolutely. That's where we got the name. Actually, that's where we got the name. For years, when I started a YouTube channel, it was literally just I used the handle Enosh for different things, and chat rooms and stuff back in the day. And so that's just all it was. And really, I just started this. We used to do a bunch of funny, stupid stuff at my old church, and we'd make all these like commercial things for the church, like, parodies of like Geico commercials and just, stupid stuff. And they were so cheesy, and I still kept them up on the channel to this day because they're just so dumb. And I love stuff like that. I love cheesy humor, and so I own it. Yeah, absolutely. And so, so that being said, I had it was just the Enosh Fett channel, like forever. And then me and my wife, we, one night, because we really got into, when I married my wife back in 2012, it was a second marriage for both of us. And I've got 2 stepsons and then my son. And, we love movies. We love pop culture. We love all these things. And I had collected for a long time before that, but I had to kind of put everything away for a while. Yeah. And then the Force Awakens was getting ready to come out. And now you see the Star Wars wall. The wall actually extends quite a ways this way. But like I collect Star Wars, DC superheroes, lots of that stuff, old G.I. Joe stuff, pop culture stuff from, I got He-Man, I got, wrestlers, I got everything in here now. But it was just a Star Wars collection for a long time. Okay. And so anyways, my wife and I, when we got married and we started things like I found by accident a couple of like grail items that I'd been looking for years and never thought I'd find. And I just kind of ran into them. And so I bought this. And so like she comes home one day and I have like I've got an AT-AT sitting on the table, and I've got a X-Wing, and I've got, just a couple things. And she's like, you're going to get into this again, aren't you, with the new movie coming out? I said, no, I'm not. No, never. No. I said, I might pick up something here or there. I said, but I'm not convinced that I'm going to get back into this thing. Yeah, well, now we all collect as a family, and we go to Comic-Con.
So you got her into it.
She's absolutely. If you see our bedroom is actually her collection. Like, and so she's got her own shelves, and she's got her own figures and stuff. She collects DC figures. She likes the female figures and stuff, and she's got a few guys too. But she's got all that stuff, and so we just have fun with it, man. We go shopping all the time, at antique stores and toy stores that we find around the place, and as we travel, we find little places to go into and like search them out. That's how we kind of plan our little vacations and stuff. It's like, where can we go and look for this stuff? And it's something we do as a family now. But the thing was that we got a local toy guy here who,
where is here again?
So I live in Michigan.
Okay.
I live just outside of Flint. Yep.
Flint, Michigan. We know.
Yep. So that's the usual, but it's not.
Everybody knows that
I'll
name.
just say this: we're okay, and it's not as bad as everyone thinks it is.
Okay, you're
but yeah. So so that's where we live, and so there's this local toy guy that I just love, and we used to go to his place, and exact same thing you were talking about. Like we'd go there and we'd just stand around talking for a couple hours.
Yeah.
Just about, did you see this trailer? Did you see that? Did you see whatever? And at this point, my wife and I had started like just doing kind of movie reviews, and it all started because we watched Sharknado 3.
Nice. Good one to start with.
Yeah, man, we were watching that, and and that was back in the time like where AMC Movie News had really exploded, and they just started Jedi Council and all that stuff, and so like I was into that stuff, and it was like cool. These are people talking about stuff that I've been talking about for years, and there's nobody else doing this. I want to talk about this stuff, and so one night, but we watched Sharknado 3, and it was so over the top and stupid that it was like we just looked at each other, and I said, we just got to record a video and throw it up on the channel for fun, and so we did. So like there's this like 30-minute video of us recanting the entire the entire movie and just laughing our butts off. And from there we were just like, hey, my wife said, hey, why don't we just do this every once in a while? We go to all these movies and do all this stuff. Why don't we just like talk about it? I said, okay. And so we started doing that. Well, skip a little while later, it was just still Enosh Fett. It was just, that, and we didn't really have an identity. We weren't a YouTube channel. And so we're at the toy store one day, and my wife comes over and she tells Andrew, the guy who owns it, she says, you should just put up some bar stools around this counter where all of you guys can just get together, and it could be like Cheers, and you guys walk in and be like, Enosh, Norm, and everybody just has fun because you guys literally stand around just talking for like hours about this stuff. And she's like, and you could open up this little section and just like call it the Poindexter Lounge. And, you could, and everybody kind of laughed about it, chuckled about it. And Andrew says, yeah, I'm not doing that. And so we came home, and my wife said, that's kind of what the channel is this is a place for nerds. It's a place where everybody gets together and we just talk about stuff. She goes, that'd be a really cool name for this. And I said, I really like that. And so that's what we did. We rebranded the whole thing. And that's where the name came from. And the start of it all came from is just that it's a place for nerds. It's a place where nerds go to talk. Where
everybody knows your name. And, and it's funny too, because, speaking of that comic book shop that was owned by Mr. Alfred, he wanted to do something like that too, because it got to the point where every time I went in there, it was like once a week, normal comic book, the new comic book day. I'd show up, pick out, the comic books I wanted, and maybe something else that he had up on the wall or something like that. And then we would end up just talking for like 2 hours at least. It seemed like every time.
Always.
And then he was like, we should film this. And we tried to do it one time. And it was funny because, obviously doing what I do, YouTube and everything like that, I was like, I kind of like ignored the camera. He had a little difficulty when it came to like, oh, now I'm being recorded. I'm a little nervous. So
Batman was really cool.
Yeah,
when he was.
Remember when he punched Superman in that movie? Yeah.
Oh, that was awesome, dude.
Yeah. So it was like, and I was like, see, it's not that easy, is it? And he was like, holy shit. And it was like, yes, it's not that easy. I mean, like, I like the idea, and we tried it, but it just didn't, when you have that, when that camera's rolling, it's not some people just, I mean, it's a muscle that you really have to work out. You really do.
Absolutely. Yeah. People tense up. I mean, I go back, and I mean, I've been in front of cameras, and I've been in front of people my whole life, as a musician and as a speaker and stuff like that. But it really, you don't think about it, but even to this day, there are times where it's like, you think you got it all. Like, I got this. And like, you go over it in your head. And then once you get in front of the camera, it's like,
it still happens to me this day. To this day, like I'm like, okay, this is the way I'm gonna approach this, and then all of a sudden I turn on the camera, I'm like, what was I gonna say?
Yeah, exactly. What was that again? What was that? By the way, I wanted to say, I was listening to you before you had me come in, and listening to your story about baseball, and about learning all of your favorite players batting stances and stuff. So I taught myself to switch hit.
Yes,
I was that kid growing up.
Yeah.
That I had an Army duffel bag, And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a baseball player. And I was the captain of every baseball team that I was on as a kid. And I had the Army duffel bag. I had a bunch of bats, a bunch of balls, catcher's equipment, everything. And I would all summer long, I would just walk around the neighborhood, because this is before, you you knew everybody's number and everything. You just you didn't even know kids, they just lived someplace, and you're just like, what? I don't even know that guy's name. I'm just gonna go see if he's home. Yeah. And you go knock on the door, and you're like, is he home? I remember doing that. But anyway, so we'd go up to the school, we'd play baseball like all day long. Yeah. And so one winter I would do that. I was downstairs in my grandma's basement. My grandma raised me, and I had like a sock ball and some plastic bats, and I had all these different bats. And I would just literally play games. I would keep stats, and I would play as the Detroit Tigers, because I was a big Tiger fan. And I was also I'm also a huge LA Dodger fan.
How dare you? All right. Yeah, I'm gonna have to kick this guy out.
Well, I was born in Las Vegas, and back then, in the late 70s, early 80s, like the Dodgers were like the kind of the dominant team around Vegas, because Vegas didn't have its own team. And so, I did the exact same thing, man. I would just play all winter long, and tossing up this ball, and I had like different things set up. So if it hit here, it was a single, a double, a triple, a home run, stuff. And I taught myself how to hit left-handed. And it's funny because I write with my left hand, and I do a lot of things with my left hand, but I do everything else right-handed. So I play guitar, drums, everything right-handed. So I'm kind of ambidextrous anyways. Yeah. And that was kind of when I discovered it, because the next summer I went up to bat in one of our games, and I went up to hit left-handed, and my friends were like, "No, man, don't do that. Don't be stupid. This is not the time to do that." And like I went up and like I just nailed the ball, and they're like, "Okay, never mind." And so, but it was bringing back a lot of memories listening to you talk about that, because I did the exact same thing, man.
It's funny because my brother's he's very ambidextrous. I mean, he's so because he'll write with his left hand, he'll eat with his left hand, he plays bass with his left hand, but he'll do a lot of things right-handed too. And he was always a switch hitter. And his favorite player growing up was Will Clark on the Giants. Yeah, and so it was always Mariners versus Giants when we were like, just tossing a tennis ball against the wall. But we would always try to like go through the main lineup and try to just mimic as much as possible. And like, he was naturally a switch hitter. I had to like teach myself, and he like helped me out to like, obviously, if I'm going to be Ken Griffey Jr., I got to do, I'm not going to do a Ken Griffey Jr. right-handed. Exactly. So I had to like learn
how to that smooth swing, man.
Oh, geez. I mean, nobody can mimic that thing. I mean, that thing is a thing of beauty. I mean, one of the most beautiful swings you'll ever see in baseball. Yeah. But I mean, like, and like I was saying too, like, when Jay Buhner, he had one of those like really random, like I can't even explain how his batting stance was. It was so random, just holding his bat like in front of him and like twiddling his like fingers.
I know there's some weird guys out there, man. Like Mickey Tettleton used to have like this he played for the Tigers for a while. And it's funny to mention this because when this whole thing hit and we were, having to stay inside and there was no baseball, our local Fox affiliate started playing like old Tigers reruns and like when they won the 84 World Series and like 87 and all this stuff. So I'm watching all these players. That was the time that I was doing all of that. Right. Yeah. And so it's funny because I was remembering batting stances of guys. And there was one thing that they showed Mickey Tettleton. And I remember mimicking Mickey Tettleton because he would sit there and he'd hold the bat like really loose. Yeah. He wouldn't even have his hands around it. It'd just be like, and he'd stand straight up. Like it was just like he was standing there just like straight, like with a board against his back. And he'd just like stare the pitcher down. And when the ball would come in, he would just drop and go right into the ball, man.
Wail it. Yeah.
Yeah. It was good stuff.
God. Makes me want to start a baseball live stream. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I'm like, when I see like baseball, like live streams, or I'm a fan of Jambi. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
fan of that guy, Matt Jambi. Like the way that he like breaks down stuff. I'm like, damn it. Sometimes I wish I just like had a side thing where I just break down baseball and talk baseball because I know, man,
it's fun.
It is fun, and I'm so glad the season's back. But it's a little iffy right now. Because you got teams that are like, the Marlins and I guess the Cardinal. I don't know what's going on, but
I don't know, man. Well, you know what we call it, we can move on. But I got a guy who comes on my streams because we do live call-in stuff, Yeah. And so this guy, he lives up in Vancouver, and I've got family actually in Seattle, and so we were talking, and he's a huge baseball guy and a nerd just like me, and we're like, people are like giving us a hard time in the stream, you know, and they're like, this is about nerd stuff, man. Why are you guys talking baseball? You're talking
That's probably
sports.
what some of these guys are thinking right now.
It's like that's not nerd stuff. And we're like, no, we're nerds with personality. We've expanded, you know, like.
Well, when you think about like, well, what a nerd is, it's something that you're like, you know, you have a certain thing that you just nerd out about. You can nerd out about baseball. You can nerd out about football. You can nerd out about anything.
Absolutely.
I mean, like nerd doesn't exactly mean comic books and fucking, you know, like in math problems. It's not exactly that. You can nerd out about everything. So I mean, yeah, absolutely. There's nothing wrong with that. So I mean, I'm glad you're a baseball fan. It's awesome.
I am.
But let's get to the more nerdy stuff like that. I know you're a big DC fan. I like your hat, obviously.
Thank you, sir.
Flash. So when it comes to like everything that's kind of happening right now, when it comes, I guess I could ask, like, when it comes to like DC, like when it comes to the movies, since obviously you know I love talking about movies. What was it that I mean, obviously, I'm wearing the '89 Batman logo. I mean, when it came to my furthest back memory of going to the movies, this is the first memory I have, going with my brother and my dad, seeing the '89 Batman. I mean, obviously, you've probably been a fan of DC and everything for as long as you can remember. But is there anything that sticks out that made you like significantly like, hey, I'm all about like these DC characters? Yeah, Marvel's cool, but you know, DC, there's something about DC.
Yeah, so I was born in '76, and one of the first memories I had, my family, we lived out in Vegas, and my weekends were pretty much the same growing up, in that my family took me to Circus Hotel because they had the circus acts and stuff, and that was free, and like you could go and you could just sit there, and then you could go around and play like carnival games and stuff. So I remember doing that a lot as a kid. But the other things that I remember too is you know, because in '77 Star Wars hit. And so I remember going to the movies a lot because I loved Star Wars. I mean, Star Wars was just my jam.
I would have never guessed with your wall right back behind you.
And
I thought that was just for show.
No, I'm not one of those guys, man. I live and breathe this stuff. And so I loved Star Wars. Like one of my first memories is going to see Star Wars, and we would go every weekend because it was such a phenomenon. So I'm one of those kids that, like, even though I was only a year or two, I have these crazy memories. Like I remembered something that when I reconnected with my dad a few years ago, because I was raised by my grandmother. My mother had some issues. My parents got divorced, and so I ended up being raised by my grandmother with my two sisters. And when I reconnected with my dad, we were sitting there talking, and I told him a memory that I had of him, like watching me and me going back to his apartment. And I explained it all to him. He's like, there is no way you can remember that. You would have been like 8 months old. And I'm like, don't know what to tell you. There it is. So I remember going to the movies like constantly to see Star Wars. And then in '78, when Superman hit, I remember I have a memory very, very specific, being in the theater. The seats were red. We were waiting for the movie to start. And my mother got up at the time and she went to go get something to drink. And I thought she was going to come back and have a Coke with the popcorn that we had. And she brought back a freaking tab.
Oh God.
Yeah. And so like, I'm this little kid, eating popcorn. And then like, I reach over and I go to grab what I thought was a Coke. And I hate tab. I hate the thought of tab. And I just remember taking this big swig, and it's just so strong in my memory. But we were there to watch Superman. Yeah. And so just bitter taste and all that stuff. And so maybe it's because I think they say tragedy, like instills memories in your mind.
Yeah. Trauma. Yeah.
So drinking that tab, I think did that. But I grew up with Superman, you know, like I had Superman. I all the pictures of me as a kid, I was running around in my Superman underoos.
Of course.
You know, I put a cape around my neck, and my grandma would pin it, and I just run around the house, you know, or, you know, with a towel around my neck, you know, as a cape, and just growing up with those movies and those Christopher Reeve movies. And then obviously too, it was around that time. I mean, during that time in the 70s and 80s, DC was king. So you'd come home, you know, Saturday morning, there'd be Super Friends. And then all throughout the week, you'd get home from school and they'd be playing the syndicated Super Friends, you know, and, you know, from years gone by. And so it was something that was very much there. You know, Batman and Robin were on Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
You know, you know, and then every once in a while,
I still remember Casey Kasem voicing the voice of Robin. So random. So random.
Yeah. But that was the thing, man. There was just a lot of that stuff around. And so like, I just really resonated with that, with Superman and Batman and Robin and just, you know, the Super Friends cartoon and all of those things. And so, I knew of Marvel, you know, a little bit, but I really didn't know the difference. I mean, I liked Spider-Man because I watched the Electric Company TV show. And they had those Spider-Man spots on there, you know, whatever. And I did that. And I do have a memory of like taking chalk and putting it in water one day with this girl who lived down the street. And we like smeared it all over our bodies one summer. And like, I went and like pounded on my grandma's door. And when she answered it, like I was the Hulk. And, you know, so like, I remember that,
Nice.
But like, as far as like knowing all the other characters, I didn't know who Iron Man was. I didn't know who, like, you know, I vaguely knew who Captain America was, but you know, it wasn't as prevalent to me as Superman and all these characters. And one of the things with Superman in particular was, it wasn't necessarily because of his superpowers. It wasn't because he did all those awesome things. A lot of it for me was not growing up with a dad or a lot of good male role models. I saw Superman as this ultimate male role model, like is this guy who always took care of the people in his life, who was always there for him, who never let them down. Like every time Lois Lane would, you know, trip over a rock, all she had to do was scream and, you know, Zam, he was there, you know, you know, and, you know, he was there for Jimmy Olsen, the whole 9 yards. And so that was something that as I grew up, it really resonated with me because I didn't have a lot of male role models until later on, like mostly in my late teens. So Superman was always somebody that I looked to that you could always count on to do the right thing. And that just stayed with me as I grew up. It just continued. And I know when I found out I was going to be a dad, I just, you know, it was so amazing to me. And I ended up, my son's middle name is Jor-El.
Nice.
And so, yeah, you know, that whole, you know, father becomes the son becomes the father thing and everything. And it's funny, man, because I got to meet Brandon Routh.
Really?
This last year. And I wasn't a big fan of Superman Returns, to be honest with you.
A lot of people aren't. A lot of
people. And I had my own issues with it, but it's amazing because Brandon Routh now has a son. And I got to talk to him at our Motor City Comic Con, and we actually spent some time together. It was actually pretty cool. And so in doing that and getting to talk to him, like he ended up coming out and like giving me a hug because like we like, because after hearing his take on Superman, like what he felt about Superman, not necessarily the script that he was given to play and, you know, and everything like that, but like his take on it and him being a dad and me sharing with him my experience, we kind of bonded, like, and like he ended up doing a shout out for the channel even because like, we just had this kind of moment. And that's the thing is I think Superman is like one of those things that's he's very personal to people. People obviously have different takes on who they feel the character should be, much like Batman. But Superman was a major part. And then of course, 89 Batman, dude. So it's funny. My grandmother was kind of strange sometimes growing up and like, I don't know, like the dark Batman, she didn't like all that. Like she thought it looked evil and everything. And she liked
Adam West stuff. Probably.
Yeah. And I was too young to even know anything about like the Dark Knight and that whole kind of thing. But I remember we lived in Michigan at the time, but we went back out to Vegas to visit some friends. And there was these two kids that I was going to spend the night with. And that I was friends with out there, and they're like, "We saw Batman. You got to see Batman. Can you go see Batman?" And I asked my grandma, I was like, "Can I go see Batman?" And she's like, "Well, okay." And so I was like, probably like 12, and dude, I saw Batman, and Superman didn't go away, but Batman
floored you, huh?
Became like my my jam. Like everything was Batman that summer, you know, like me and my friends, even like my buddy had a camcorder, a VHS camcorder. and we wrote this little Batman movie, you know, and I have no idea where that tape ended up, but we wrote this Batman movie. And the funny thing was he had a Batman mask and he was going to be Batman. And then I put the Batman mask on. He's like, "No, Enosh, you need to be Batman. You got a better face for it." Like, so the kid actually let me wear his Batman mask. That's really awesome. Cool. And so we just did this fun stuff, man. And I remember being ticked off because what's up, Crush It? Yeah. Crush It's awesome.
Crush It's awesome. Great support. Yeah, he's loving you. Good shout out there.
Absolutely.
you,
I
sir.
love Crush It. Crush
And
It's
yes, Mr. Ping Pong Flicks will probably be coming on a little bit later, so you'll
cool.
be satisfied. Anyways, go ahead.
Cool. Yeah. So I remember it's funny you're wearing that shirt because I remember being a kid and I could not find a black Batman shirt anywhere.
Nowhere. I had a white one. My mom bought me a white one. I'm like, white? Okay, I'll wear it, but what the hell? It's
right
black. Yeah.
I know, man. I couldn't find one, so I had a teal one. I think I would have probably taken the white one over the teal one that I had, but it was a Batman shirt, and gosh darn it, I needed a Batman shirt. So funny story. I was so desperate for a Batman shirt that I had a friend. He didn't tell me it was his freaking sister's shirt.
Nice.
And it was a white shirt and it had Batman on the front, right? And then it had like this little bubble up here with like this girl, and she's kind of thinking, and it was he better not be with that Batgirl again. And like I didn't care because it had Batman on the front. And then it was like, now I look back and I was like, oh yeah, that was not a guy shirt. But oh well, it was a Batman shirt, and I don't care. So, but yeah, so DC was always, and I never lost that, man. I never lost that. Even in the dry years where there was nothing, I mean, I remember going to see Superman 4 when all my friends didn't want to go see Superman 4. And I was still like, I don't care. It's Superman, like I'll love it anyway. It's something. It's something.
Yeah. It was same with me. It was like, it's something to watch. Hey, look, he's flying. It's Superman. Whatever. Exactly. I don't care. He's fighting that guy. And there's
that same flat static shot of Superman flying toward the camera.
I don't care. That's what I want to see. I mean, And I mean, even when it came to, when it came to Batman, I mean, the fact that when you see that little evolution, when you have the Burton Batmans, and then you got Batman Forever. And it's funny too, because obviously with the recent, there was like a recent campaign talking about the Schumacher cut.
Yeah,
it does exist. It seems like it does. It's stored somewhere. I mean, it probably just needs to be a little tweaked, but I mean, there's something that I just remember, I have a vivid memory of just being so excited for Batman Forever, waiting out in line in California. This is when I lived in California. And I wait out in the rain at this shitty movie theater that, it's actually just over the hill, like behind me here, and just waiting for that. And just, I don't know. I don't, for some reason, I just love that movie. It's such a guilty pleasure. Yeah. It's got cheese to it. I could break it down and be like, yeah, Tommy Lee Jones should have brought it down a main or two.
Yeah. Just a smidge. He's the only part of that movie that I just look and go,
what were you thinking?
Like, why is he playing the Joker part 2?
Yes.
That's not Two-Face. That's not, I don't know what that is, but it's
Two-Face is supposed to be a little darker, a little more tame. Yeah, that is a gripe. But but for some reason that movie just holds a special place. Like that's why when people like go like, what, when I say I like it better than Returns, sorry guys, there's a lot of the Burton people out there that are like, what, are you serious? I'm like, you know what? I like Returns, but there's just something about Batman Forever that just holds that place. And then we can break down Batman and Robin.
Got a great soundtrack too.
Come on. U2, Seal, and Offspring was in there. Jeez. Yep. I mean, I listened to that soundtrack like crazy.
Great soundtrack.
Absolutely crazy. But when it comes
to, I'm not a soundtrack guy. So like, if I say it's a good soundtrack, when
it comes to those first 4 movies, that had the best soundtrack. I mean, they try to emulate that with Batman and Robin. They had like, I had Smashing Pumpkins do the main song, but it was like, it's not that U2 song that, that was a good freaking song. Yes. Great. And then that Seal song. Come on.
Oh, yeah. I mean, everybody still sings that song to this day.
Jeez. Kiss from a Rose. My God. I mean, geez, you want to get a little romantic with the missus, man. Throw that Kiss from a Rose song on there. I tell you what.
Absolutely.
But when it comes to later on, obviously, I'm sure you were a fan of like the Nolan Batmans. We already talked about Superman Returns. Were you a fan of the Nolan Batman?
Yeah, so that's funny because Batman Begins caught me off guard. I literally found out the week, and I don't know how that was either, to be quite honest with you, because I was into stuff like that at the time, So I mean, like, I don't know, I just never heard of it. Like I had not, and it's like now I can't even fathom that being in the space that I'm in now. Like I can't imagine like a movie. I think the last one that caught me off guard was Cloverfield. When they did the Cloverfield paradox, thing, right after the Super Bowl, and I was like, but that wasn't really the same because this was a movie that was planned to come out, and I didn't know about it.
Yeah.
And so I remember just like thinking, wow, there's a movie coming out. And so like 2 days later, I was there and I sat there in Batman Begins just going, oh my God, this is amazing. Especially after Batman and Robin.
Yes.
And just bat credit cards and, you know, and all that silliness where you thought that they had just put a nail in that coffin.
Yeah. Which they did.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, but yeah, man, like, and it's funny that we're talking about this because like last week I watched like all of the Batman movies except for Batman Begins, actually. But like, you know, all those movies, the Schumacher ones, the other ones, and yeah, and then I watched the Dark Knight and the Dark Knight Rises, but Batman Begins just sparked something. It was like, wait, hold on a second. They're doing a superhero movie, but they're treating it like a real movie.
Yeah.
This is like what would actually happen if a billionaire decided to do this. And they're treating it with respect. And I just remember coming out of it, telling all my friends, like, you guys got to go see the new Batman movie. And they're all thinking Batman, Robin. They're like, really? No, I don't think I want to go. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. Like
been
this
8 years, guys.
Yeah. I'm like, this is something completely different. And, yeah, it blew me away. And then the Dark Knight, you know, was fabulous. I mean, it was really good. I remember being really ticked off though when I heard that Heath Ledger was going to be.
I think everybody was kind of like, "What?"
Yeah, I think now by this point it's just pretty much standard that whoever gets cast in a Batman movie, we're just gonna flip our lid and get pissed off about it. And
my reaction to Ben Affleck getting cast, I was not for it. I actually went back and watched that video and I'm like, holy crap. And now I love his Batman. I think
absolutely
he's the cinematic Batman.
Me too.
But it's the same thing with Heath Ledger. You're like, really? That guy?
That's what I said.
10 things I hate about. And then Brokeback Mountain. Are you serious?
Yeah.
When that first little teaser came out, I remember it was just like pretty much just a logo. And it had a bunch of like quotes from the movie. And when he heard his Joker laugh, I went, oh, well, that's good. And then they showed that image of him in the makeup for the first time with his scarred face. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, obviously, you know, like you said, they're trying to treat it like a real movie. Nolan is like going, we're grounding the shit out of this thing. We're giving it so much ground. It's ground on top of ground.
Yeah.
It's like, well, yeah, that makes sense. If you're going to have somebody who's going to be this insane, he's not going to just like fall into a vat of acid and just, it's going to, he's going to like self-inflict wounds, a smile on his face. You know, it all started making sense. And then when he saw it, it was like, holy, wow. They just did an absolute special.
So good. And so I'll be honest with you. And I just, having watched it last week, I appreciated it a little bit more last week, and I don't know how everybody else feels about this, but I'm not as big of a fan as of the Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, neither am I.
And I wondered why for a long time, because there's a lot of elements to it that I really do like.
Yeah.
But one, it feels like the movie doesn't fit with the other two.
Nope.
At all, like in feel, in tone. It almost feels like they got a different director.
Yeah.
To direct the movie. And then I know a lot of it has to do with that basically they had to rewrite the story and figure it out.
He planned on having the Joker.
Yes.
In it. Yeah.
Yes. And so I understand that, but I realized, was it last year, really why? And that is, I don't know if you watched Gotham. When Gotham was on. So I had a real love-hate relationship with Gotham. There were times when I really loved Gotham and I thought it got it really right. And then when Mooney plucked out her eye and stomped it on the ground, and the next week she had a new one, I was ready to throw something at my TV. And I'm like, that is not how this works. I don't care what world you're in and what hospital you're at. You don't just replace eyeballs. But I digressed.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you spoon that thing right out and then just be like, all the nerve endings, everything. And it's like, yeah, next week we're good.
We're good. We're fine.
No consequences.
Just replace it. You're good.
No consequences. But yeah, so but I realized something with the ending of that, with the last season of that show, and then in watching that, because I kept waiting, like, when is this going to get good? When is this going to change? Come on, God, why is it we're only getting 12 episodes and we're in episode 8 of No Man's Land? Why are we doing this? Come on. can we please get over this now? Can we please get through? And then we get like 1/2 episode, it felt like, of like, oh yeah, and here, by the way, here's what happened later, and it was like,
yeah,
what the heck did I just watch? Why did I even need that? I don't know. But I realized it's like, I just do not buy into the No Man's Land storyline in any way. I don't buy it that the government would just like give up on an entire city because some gangsters, not some military or what, like some gangsters take it over and we're going to shut it off and let all the people die and like live like they're in a third world country.
Yeah, I mean,
you know what I mean? Like we've got Marines and SEAL team.
That's kind of my issues with Dark Knight Rises too. It's like, really, they're just gonna like, oh, so the bridges are blown up, so that's it. You're just gonna let Gotham just sink in, and then it's just like 7 years later after like Batman just quits, like Bruce just quits, and he just stays and he grows like a freaking he grows a Green Arrow type mustache goatee, and then all of a sudden he's like, all right, I'm gonna get back into it. I'm just gonna put on this metal brace and I can kick bricks now. It was just a lot of, and where I almost thought like Nolan was like, I have to do this. I signed a contract. I don't want to because I wanted to have this story with the Joker and somebody else. I'm going to do this. And, like you said, there's things I like about it. I think, Tom Hardy as Bane was very like, I mean, the way that they made him so threatening. I mean, it was, great performance. Yes. And everything. I loved, what's her name is Selena Kyle, Catwoman.
She's all right. She's not my favorite actress. So, but having watched it last week, I was like, yeah, I mean, it works.
It works.
I don't know about the love relationship between the two. You know what I mean? Because I always like it when Batman ends up with Selena Kyle. I'm good with that storyline. I like that storyline. But like, that was a weird transition.
It was.
Yeah, where they take it from one, just from one place to another, and just that scene at the end with Alfred and stuff, and it's like Alfred just got there. He just sat down, and then he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna leave."
Yeah, and then all of a sudden he just gives him a nod and walks off. I mean, I'm sorry, but if we're gonna really ground this in reality, Alfred would be like, "Sir, you're alive,
right?"
Hi.
But there's a lot of people though who talked about that ending for a long time of like what the ending really meant, and if it was like kind of that whole Nolan, almost what was the other movie he did, the Dream Within a Dream Inception. Yeah, that like people were like reading into it that it was like an Inception type ending where it's like, that really didn't happen, and and stuff, and then kind of the on the nose stuff like, oh, you should really use your middle name.
Oh, I hated that. I was one of the people that like I cringed. Everybody was like, yeah, Robin. I was like, are you kidding me? That was no, it should be Richard, Dick. What do you know? I hated that. And I almost think that Nolan, it wasn't Nolan's idea, but it was like the studio going, hey, can you just throw this little Easter egg in? Throw a Robin in there somewhere.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, because it just didn't feel like Nolan would actually approve of that. And I'm like, I cringe. And even when I watch it now, I'm like, ugh, God, I hate that.
No,
it's you should use your real name, Robin. I'm like, ugh. No.
Such a weird thing. By the way, shout out to everybody in the chat.
For sure.
I see just a ton of names that I'm used to seeing, so I'm glad to see you guys all tonight.
All around, man. I mean, it's crazy. But I think a lot of people actually want to talk about a certain video that you posted recently. It seems we could transition to that.
You mean that Bill and Ted 3?
Yes. That's what I wanted to tell you about.
Reaction video?
How excited are you for? Finally, we're going to get this trilogy to Bill and Ted and see what happens. They haven't written the song yet.
Dude, party on, man. I tell you what, I am so excited for Bill and Ted. The only thing I'm kind of disgusted with now is that I don't get to see it in the theater. I'm so, that's a bummer because it takes something that feels like it was coming back and it was going to be something really. And it's still going to be awesome. Let's admit that, right? But now I got to watch it on my TV, so it almost feels like a direct to DVD sort of thing. And I just there's that disappointment because I really wanted this to like get out into the vernacular. I wanted people to see Bill and Ted again. I wanted that because that was something that I've loved, and I just wanted that to be. I wanted to see commercials for it and see billboards or whatever. But hey, it is what it is. But yeah, dude, that especially that second trailer, man. That second trailer looks absolutely fabulous, and I'm excited to see it.
And
I can't wait.
Rest in peace, George Carlin, man. That's the only
man,
Rufus, man. That's
dude.
only, but I'm sure they do a good tribute in there. We've
got 2 dogs, and one's named Wookie. They're both
Nice.
Australian Shepherds. One name's Wookie, and my wife, we debated on whether or not to name one of them Rufus.
It's a good dog name. It
is a good, and it was a little too on the nose for us. So my wife, we got the second dog, and it's a girl, and so my wife loves Harley Quinn, so we named her Harley Quinn, and she is definitely like Harley Quinn for sure. Like she'll come up to you and she'll just do the most dastardly. She'll just look at you and just crap on the floor. Just be like, she's been the hardest dog I've ever had to potty train in my life. She'll go outside, she'll do her thing, and then she'll come right and just look right at you and be like, "Yeah, I'm peeing. What you gonna do about it?" And then when you go and you're like, which sounds really weird, but you're like, "Harley Quinn," and she's like, "Oh," and she'll lay on her back like this with her paws up, and you're like,
"Oh wow, what's up, Puddin'? What's up, Puddin'?"
Right? We call her a Sour Patch Kid because first she's sour and then she's sweet, and it's like, oh yeah. But
wow,
yeah,
well, that's cool.
But Harley Quinn cuddles up to me every night and kisses me on the face before I go to sleep. So
as long as she's not taking a bat to your face, that's good.
Yeah, for sure.
But so when it comes to stuff that happened recently, I mean, like, it's just crazy. Like, how surreal was it when you had Ray Fisher tweeting out a portion of your video calling out Jody's Corner? Like, how did that? I mean, did you wake up and see all that, or
no? So here's the thing. I'm not a big Twitter guy. I've used Twitter more in the last 5 days than I have used in my entire life. And now I'm probably on it. You know what I mean? Like, now I'm probably good for it. And because I had the Twitter, but I just haven't used it. And so, so that was weird because actually Zeverfet is in the chat.
I saw him in there right there.
Yeah. And so I was at work on Tuesday, and I just happened to check my phone, and I'm in this thread with a bunch of guys, Zeverfet and a few others and stuff. But I saw a message from him, and he's like, "Hey, shout out, congratulations on the shout out from Ray Fisher." And I'm like, "What are you talking about, dude?" And I hadn't even gotten to the page where, like, all my notifications and stuff. And I'm just like, "What are you talking about?" And so he's like, "You haven't seen it yet?" And I'm like, "Seen what?" And he's like, "Hold on a second." And so, like, I'm imagining him going to check it. I'm like, "Well, I could just check it myself." And so I go over, and I can't even, like, I'm still trying to figure out, like, tweets and subtweets and how to find the original tweet and all that stuff, and like, all I'm seeing is all these comments, right? Like, all these comments with Jody's name in it and all these different things. And I'm like, what the heck? And it's answering to me and Ray Fisher. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? And so finally I did a search and found Ray's actual, page. And so, like, I go and I look, and I'm scrolling down, and I find this tweet, and I'm like, wow. Okay,
what happens now? Yeah.
And then, and then I'll be honest with you. I had a moment.
Yeah.
Because when what really kicked off our channel was we used to do reviews of the TV show The Flash.
Yeah.
And in the second season, when they did their whole storyline about them going to Earth 2 and they found that man in the iron mask, I one night had a prediction about who that was going to be. And I told my wife, and Tiffany looked at me and she said, you should make a video about that. And so I came in right here and I just set up my phone, and it was this blurry little video. And I did this little thing. I said, "Hey, this is who I think the man in the iron mask is going to be." And I gave all my reasons and stuff. And that sucker blew up and did over 1 million hits.
Wow.
Yeah, dude. And that got us jump started. And all of a sudden we had 3,000, 4,000 subscribers. Crazy. And I became the Flash guy for a minute. That's why I got the hat and stuff. The Flash is like my son's favorite thing. But yeah, so it was weird. And so, but I just remember that time where it's like I had my notifications on. And so, like, my phone was just blowing up, and I couldn't figure out how to turn my notifications off for YouTube. And so, like, I kept getting ding, 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 ding. And I had to turn the volume off on my phone because it was literally just going off, because I literally had thousands of messages coming in from YouTube. And so when I saw that, two things. One, I thought about the volume of stuff, because I already couldn't find the original tweet. And so I thought that, and then I thought, oh crap, this isn't about something positive that I posted. Like, this is a reaction video that, and I didn't even know what the controversy part of it was, to be honest with you. But then when I read the thing, and I had even forgotten that I said that. Right? Like it was that insignificant of a part of that video. If you watch that whole video, it's like this one little that's all that it is that right there. And so I'm like, homophobic, like what? Oh crap. And then I'm thinking of who Jody is and what that whole situation is, and like all the back and forth that I've had with Andy Signore in the last month. And I'm just like, oh man, what is going to be the outcome of this?
You know? I feel you, because there's been, I mean, like I've had my back and forth with Andy Signore too. I mean, I literally, like, I made a video after he posted that article about, oh, Snyder Cut's not happening. And I made a video, and, you know, it was one of those, like, when I saw what was happening, I went, God, man, because I get blown up. I'm like, hey, you gonna talk about this? You gonna talk about this?
Right.
Like, I don't want to, because I'm like, you know, and I just kind of like, you know, and I have a day job, and you know, it's just really busy. And I was like, okay, let me get out a video and do it. And I kind of half-assed it. And, you know, and then I brought up, you know, stuff that I've heard about Signore and everything like that. And, you know, it was just kind of like, maybe I shouldn't have, I even thought, I sat on it for like a day. I was like, maybe I shouldn't post this video, because I'm like, I dwell on some of his past a little too much. I shouldn't talk about his past, talk about the article. I should mainly talk about that. But I was like, I'm just going to post it. And I posted it. And then, sure enough, I mean, he doesn't know how to take criticism too well. I must say that.
No,
he does not. I know you actually were in a live stream with him. I actually watched some of that, and I was like, wow. I mean, first off, he shows up in a Red Skull mask.
Yep.
And that's very annoying. I'm just saying, like, I don't know how it felt when you had the earphones on. His voice.
Oh my gosh.
Ear piercing sometimes.
Hi guys. I've been doing this.
It's the Muppet Show with our very special guest, Andy Signore. Yay! Hey guys, I'm just right here to talk about all the cool stuff on Popcorn Planet. Yay!
Spot on impression, sir.
Thank you.
Yes.
Master impressionist.
Yes. No, it's good. But yeah, I saw that you were on that, and that was
well, you know, that was weird. And I tell you who we've talked about this is me and Ryan from Zeverfet, because if you watch that video, like there's a lot just going on. People are yelling and they're screaming, and like first of all, we're just doing this video.
Mad Max.
Kind of, yeah, we're on Mad Max's thing, and I just saw something. I really hope that that's not true. But so we're watching this video and we're kind of just commenting on it, and all of a sudden this thing pops up. And look, I've been doing my own show, and you know, like last week when we were doing a show, actually Mad Max was on that too, and like somebody popped up as Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers, right? And it was like, yeah, okay, sure, right, you know, because we had the link was out there, and so like somebody, and then that went away, and then it was like Ryan from Geeks and Gamers, and then it was like Zack Snyder, right? And they're in the chat, and they're in the private chat. They're like, no, it's really me, you know.
Yeah, I get Joss Whedon, Jeff John.
Oh yeah. So I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, sure, whatever.
Sure,
right?
It's them, yeah.
But so this guy Popcorn Planet, you know, posted and said that it was him, and we're like, do we know it's him? Well, we don't know, and so Max let him in,
and it was him.
And it's him, obviously, because of the background, but the stupid Red Skull thing, and it was just like, oh gosh. And so then the whole thing just kind of devolved. Like it was just a lot of yelling, you know, because he's coming in trying to be smart aleck and you know, and put everybody in their place, because he's got this preconceived notion of what everybody thinks who's in that room.
Yeah.
And like why they all have a problem with him, and like in his whole thing, and he's still to this day, he thinks that we all are mad at him because he got the scoop wrong.
Yeah.
Right. Like I don't care about the scoop, to be quite honest with you. I don't
give either. And he even copped to like saying like, hey, I was wrong, guys. And I was like, good job, Andy. That's what you're supposed to do.
Who cares?
But the fact that he, you know, when it comes to him and Jody, and like you even said it too, is like Jody is very toxic. Okay. And I think you even called him out on that. You're like, you're dealing with somebody that's really like very toxic, who likes to stir up these fans, and you're a part of it. But then, and then all of a sudden he does the same thing too. I mean, when it comes to all the Ray Fisher stuff and everything that's been happening, I mean, he literally, I think I saw somebody post a thumbnail to like a new live stream that he was doing like either today or yesterday, or a video he was doing where like, who's going to replace Cyborg in the DCU? And I'm like, really? You're going to get that petty? And then the fact that he like showed up in Ray Fisher's Twitch stream trying to like, hey, you need to go, it was like, what are you doing, man?
Well, and that's the thing. And Zeverfest said it there. Like, as soon as Andy showed up, like all of our demeanors changed.
Yeah.
And you can really tell with me and Zever, because like we're both kind of contemplating, okay, if this gets around to us, what are we going to say? This is an opportunity.
Yeah.
Right. To have a conversation. But unfortunately, when you're in that moment and you got that many people on the panel and everybody's trying to talk over each other, and he's acting the way that he was, and he's just trying to be smart aleck, it was like it was getting crazy. And so it was cool, because eventually it kind of came to me, something came up at a point that I wanted to speak. And so I said, hey, let's calm down for a second. And Max actually said, okay. And he backed out, and I was able to talk. And then just, it was interesting because I recut the video. I didn't cut it out, but I just cut out my portion where I talked to him, and I reposted it on my channel. And I zeroed in on Andy during that time when I'm talking, and he went from the yelling at everybody thing to like he's sitting there and he's like this. He's looking up and he's listening to every word that I'm saying, because he doesn't know who the heck I am or where I was from or what I was doing. And I just told him, I said, man, look, I'm just somebody who used to be a fan of yours. I said, I used to watch, Screen Junkies. I was into what you guys were doing. I thought it was funny and everything. And I said, I don't care about your past life. I said, I don't care about what's going on. I get it that you're trying to restart all that, and good at you, man. Like, look, we've all had stuff come up in our life. So I don't care about this whole, getting the scoop wrong or whatever. I said, but what I do care about is, I said, like, why are you just attacking everybody?
Yeah.
Like, why are you just trying to make us feel bad because we want something? Like, why? Because that was what really put Andy back on my radar. Was like, I was working out one night and I found this video that he did with Vito. And I don't even know who that guy is. Like, I've never watched another video of his to save my life, because I just don't care.
Yeah.
But he's in there and they're just going on about the Snyder cult and the Snyder cult. And that was the video that he tried to get that hashtag up and going, hashtag reject the Snyder cult.
Yeah.
And I was just like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like why put that much effort into it? And then why do such a mockery of something good? Look, I think that parody and joking around and ribbing somebody is funny. Okay. Yeah. As long as you're doing it all in good fun. Like, I don't know if you know who Mike Zero is. Okay. So that's a Star Wars thing. And this guy just comes up with the craziest Star Wars stuff. The guy puts out like 8 videos a day. Right. And it's just all just like made up Star Wars stuff that people actually buy into. And so like a few
actually, you know what? I think I have heard. I think
it's the craziest stuff. Yeah, it's like the craziest stuff. And so I actually started doing on my channel. We were talking about him a lot. People were talking about him a lot in the live streams. And he had always been somebody that shows up in all my stuff. And so I ended up starting to do parody videos of him. I created a new character called Mark Uno, and I would just make up the silliest stuff that I possibly could, that about that. And so I'm fine with parody. I'm fine with joking. I'm fine of pushing people's buttons and, and having fun like that. But it's like when you're attacking people who are trying to do some good, trying to raise some money for a good cause, you're talking about releasing t-shirts and you're doing all this stuff taken away from the seriousness of what the cause is. And you're making it out like everybody's bullying you, but obviously you're getting together in a gang and you're criticizing everybody. And like, just the things that they were saying, just really rubbed me the wrong way. And so that's when I made a video actually about Andy. That's how it all started for me. It was like a month and a half ago, I made this video about Andy, and then I discovered Jody. And that was my next thing, because obviously, because I'd watched that video, all of a sudden YouTube is like, hey, you liked Andy Signor.
Let me recommend this guy for
Let's
you.
take it to the next level, right?
Oh,
First
God.
one's free.
Yeah.
Second one's gonna cost you something. And so I watched his video, and that was the video, the very unfortunate video where he goes on about AT&T and Warner Brothers and just the comparisons there. And so I made a video, and look, my channel was not one of like, I don't call a bunch of people out. I don't do a bunch of silly stuff. Like I'm trying to enjoy my life and do fun stuff with my family and other people. And anybody who's been to the channel knows that. But it was like, I felt like as a fan, I've been a DC fan, like I said, my whole life. And I'm sorry, but over the last 10 or so years, I have taken so much crap.
We all have.
Right. And that's the thing. And like, but we all haven't been united. You know what I mean? So I think sometimes it's really felt like we've been on an island. And anytime you ever mention that, like, I like DC, or I liked, Man of Steel, or I like Batman v Superman, it's like you immediately get this: DC sucks, DC sucks, DC sucks, you suck, you should kill yourself. Everything's, and it's like, what the heck? Like Marvel. And it's like, oh my God, like, Marvel's cool.
Those are right. Those movies are okay. Like I can enjoy them, but can I also enjoy this?
Yeah, it's like, I really liked Iron Man. It was really good.
Yeah.
Like, but come on, and so, and it's like, I just felt that, like, even when I would go out of my way, it's like, because I didn't know Iron Man. So it's like, when I went to see Iron Man, I was like, this is really cool. And it opened up a lot of questions for me. And so when I had questions about it, I would go to my friends and I would say, hey, what about this?
Yeah.
Right. Like, what is that? And they'd explain it to me. And I go, okay, I've never read a Doctor Strange comic book in my life. I knew who the character was, but I didn't know any of his backstory or like any of the Sorcerer Supreme thing. I didn't know any of that stuff. And so when I saw the movie, that was my first exposure to it. So I went and asked my friends about questions that I had. I didn't blame it on the movie that the movie just sucked, because I didn't get it. Yeah. Right. And so what I felt was like, when things in Man of Steel happened, in Batman v Superman, especially, oh my God.
I had to explain everything. I'm like, everybody's like, what were those flying things? I'm like, Parademons, Parademons. And they're like, what? What is that? Dude, I remember sitting in the movie theater, and when Flash showed up in Bruce's, in the Batcave, I was like, I was hitting my friend. I was like, it's a Flash. It's Flash. He's traveling through time. I was like freaking out, Yeah. And he was like, okay.
Why is he coming back in time?
Yeah. Like,
what's up with that mustache?
Does he have Does he have a time machine? I'm like, no, that's not how it works.
Well, a good friend of mine pushed me over the limit, actually, when Shazam came out.
Yeah.
And I really liked Shazam. And I think, and people are like, well, it's light. See, this is what DC should be. No, that's what Shazam should be.
Shazam's supposed to be like that. Yeah.
That's the whole point of Shazam.
But it has some dark elements too.
Yes, absolutely. Well, it's a very, I mean, there's some dark stuff in that thing. I mean, like, with the 7 deadly sins and people getting thrown out of windows and just dying. And stuff.
That conference room scene is like,
heck yeah. But the tone of that whole movie is perfect. It's a great balance.
Yeah.
But the thing is like, I knew that, like, I was just done with this stuff. I mean, I already knew with Batman v Superman, because I took so much guff, dude, over Batman v Superman. Like, I wanted to just put my head through a wall, because it's like, it's like, why was there that giant symbol carved into the ground? That's stupid. Like, what is this? Why is Batman wearing a trench coat and goggles? That's the dumbest thing I've ever seen, man. Why can't they get Batman right? Why is Superman evil? Was that a dream? What's this stupid stuff? I don't get this. And it's like, you try to explain it to them, and they just go, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Right. And so then Shazam comes out, and my buddy goes, I said, well, what'd you think of Shazam? And he goes, oh, I hated it. And I'm like, you hated it? He goes, oh, I absolutely hated it. And I said, well, what did you hate about it? He goes, well,
uh-oh, your audio cut out. Uh-oh, your audio cut out a little bit. Whoopsie. Something happened. Everybody take a drink. Or 2 or 3. Apparently this might be something that happens frequently. Not frequently, but every now and again. So he's got a fix for it. Don't worry. No, but I love the fact that, he was just making a casual video. I know. Jody. It's Jody. Jody and Andy, they're listening in. And they're like, you know what? They got their hackers. They're able to get those hackers. So yeah, no, but yeah, I know it is funny. Like when you think about like explaining to your friends who don't know like anything about these comic books, and when they're like, "What the fuck is going on with the nightmare scene?" or when the Flash shows up. I mean, like I said, I was freaking out when the Flash showed up, you know, in the Batcave with Bruce. I was like, "Yes, he's doing something's happening. He's traveling through time. What's going on? What's going on, Mr. Laugh? Now, cry later. Cheers. Cheers, brother. Where's Jarbo? Hey, don't worry. Hey, we're having a good conversation. Getting to know, I'm getting to know him pretty good. So, uh-oh. Might be back. I think he might be back. I'm hearing noises. But no, Jody just threatened to dox Max. What the hell?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good
All
now.
right, thanks.
Does that happen frequently or what?
No, you know what it is I've got this unit that I run for my audio, and I broke the adapter, and so it looks like the adapter's working, but apparently it's not.
Oh, okay. I was about to
And
say.
so it had a set of batteries in it, and apparently they died. I apologize because
it happens. Don't worry.
Professional.
Yes, highly. I mean,
yeah, but no. So I was just saying. So my buddy goes to me and he says, "Yeah, I hated it." And I said, "Well, what'd you hate about it?" And he goes, "Well, it was fine until the end, but like when they brought the whole family into it, that was so dumb. Like, why'd they have to do that? That's not even part of the story. Like, why did?" And I'm like,
"Well, it is, but
like, what?" Like, you do realize that like the Shazam family is like part of the comics.
Yeah,
like, that's a whole
part of the
clue.
Yeah,
and that's what he was mad about. And I was just like, you know what? I'm so sick of that. So that's why when all this stuff started and I started seeing, I got to a point where I was just done. You know what I mean? Like I was just so frustrated. And like now we're dealing with people within the DC community, people who are claiming to love DC, and now they're just so ticked off because we're just going to get to see a movie that we wanted to see.
Yeah, it's gotten pretty. I mean, welcome to. I mean, you know, being part of like the Snyder the fandom and stuff. You know, the Snyder. And you know, I've been a supporter of Snyder for forever. I mean, once Batman vs Superman was announced, I was like, all right. With my YouTube channel, I'm covering the shit out of this because
heck yeah,
I am so excited about this because I'm a diehard Batman fan. And of course, I love Superman. The fact that they're going to put them both together. I love Man of Steel. And I was like, all right, I'm covering this movie like crazy. And, you know, of course, you know, after it came out and defending Man of Steel, it was tiresome. And then, of course, then you lead up to Justice League. And I remember like the months leading into Justice League, 6 months out, 8 months out, you start hearing, I mean, the things that happen, of course, with Snyder and his personal life, very tragic, very, you know, very just terrible, just very terrible. And, you know, and then seeing people like, it was pretty gross when you saw people being glad that he was going to be stepping down from Justice League. You know, I remember I did a whole video where I was just disgusted by the fact. I'm like, do you know the reason why he's leaving? I mean, what happened? So, you know, there was that whole thing, bringing in Joss Whedon and everything that was changing. I was trying to be optimistic. I was trying to debunk there's no way. Removing a mustache? What are you talking about? They wouldn't do something like that's ridiculous and everything. And then to actually watch that movie, to watch Justice League and seeing like, oh my God, some of this is true. I don't know how you felt exactly about the theatrical release of Justice League, but what was your initial thoughts when you actually saw it in the theaters?
So, you know, somebody was talking about Man of Steel. So Man of Steel was a Superman movie I always wanted to see.
Oh yeah, I think when all of us wanted that man.
Man. Well, and that's things like when what's going on? Yeah. No, sorry. Every stream I've been on, I've had my phone out. We're like Cash App.
Yeah. Woo woo.
Yeah. But no. So no. When they revamped Superman in '86 and John Byrne's Man of Steel, you know, all through all of that was my Superman. That was like that became my Superman because Clark was the real guy.
Yeah.
You know, like Clark was the main focus. Superman was how he worked in the world. Clark was who he was when he was home with his family, and that's who the real person was. And I love that, right? Where it's not just Clark's is this, you know, facade that, you know, he bumbles around. I like that part of Christopher Reeve's movie.
Yeah.
It works for that story.
And Brandon Routh did a fantastic job of emulating that. I will give him that, you know.
You know, and that works for that story.
Yeah.
But I really did. So like Henry Cavill I just thought was phenomenal in that role and what he did. And then you got Batman v Superman, this very serious tone, this very serious thing. And then it's like you got Wonder Woman, and you got the stories progressing, and it all seemed to fit. And then you got to Justice League. And I'll be honest with you, the first part of Justice League was really cool for me because I felt like there were elements of Justice League, and I couldn't really tell why. I felt like there were some things that worked, and now I kind of know why. But like, I mean, there was some stuff too that like the beginning where Batman's tracking the Parademon, right? And it reminded me so much of 89 Batman. You know what I mean? Just that rooftop thing with a thief, and it almost looked kind of similar. It almost had a similar.
Well, I mean, I will give, like, when you first see Batman, and he's perched up on that gargoyle. I like that shot, even though like it's a Whedon shot. I get it, but when I saw it, I was like, I like that shot. I mean,
there's some cool stuff, man. We've got a thing on our channel called the Poindexter Council, and one of the things we did was we did a whole when the Snyder Cut was announced, we did a whole episode about like shots that are probably Whedon, that and stuff about the movie, the theatrical version that we don't really want to leave, but we're pretty sure it's going to be gone. I mean, just
anything Whedon. I mean, if
I mean, just like even if we didn't know if it was Whedon or not, like it's probably if we saw it, it's especially with like the growing number of what is Whedon and what is Snyder, because at first it was like, oh yeah, only 25% of the movie was Snyder. Then it's like I've seen that number go down and go down and go down, and so. But then there's stuff that like like I really like the scene at the end with Superman and the Flash.
Oh, you like the race thing? Yeah,
I like the race thing because it's a throwback to the comics.
No, I mean I get it. It is.
It's not a great scene.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not a great scene, but it's like one of those lighthearted things. It's like, okay, yeah, that's kind of cool, just to see, to visualize like what that is. But yeah. So when I saw Justice League, I came out. Now I was excited. I'll be honest with you. I was really excited, and I just found our reaction video, and we're going to actually react as a family, to that video because one, I was 420 pounds at the time.
Yeah, I remember hearing that you had a significant weight loss. Great.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
like, and congratulations to that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And so I'm. That's one way to look at it, like but my kids were younger, and that's kind of why I started doing the YouTube thing with my family, is just because like now I can look back and like when we got home from The Force Awakens, we did this, awesome. And it's like my kids can look back one day, if YouTube is still a platform, and look back on that stuff. Otherwise I got a lot of downloading to do, because I don't have a lot of that stuff still. But the thing is like, so we're going to do this. And like, we're really excited about it. There were a lot of visuals that were really, really cool. The more you start watching it, you start seeing where there are these gaps in it. And obviously, there's stuff like Mustache-gate, and there's, there's different stuff, but there's individual scenes that work, but then you start taking a deeper look, and it's like, there's holes in it.
Oh yeah.
100%. And then tonally, it's just completely different. It's like it goes to kind of that Marvel formula where they're trying to tell a joke. There's some jokes that are awesome, that are great. Like when Aquaman is sitting on the lasso of truth, and he goes into that whole heart to heart moment thing. That cracks me up every time.
I mean, it was like, and I remember the theater laughing and stuff like that. It wasn't bad. It wasn't terrible, but when you have like the stuff like Flash falls on Wonder Woman's that was like a little like I didn't like that
exactly,
and then when he's like talking about brunch and stuff like that, it's like what is this?
And uncomfortable.
And it's very noticeable that it is a reshoot, because it's like Ezra Miller looks different. He looks like he's lighter. His hair is not the same. You could really dissect the shit out of it.
You got really fit Ben Affleck,
and then you got
really fat.
You got puffy bread face Ben Affleck.
Yeah, so
it's very easy to spot.
Yeah, so I agree. So I mean, so there was all of that, and so just the idea, and I'll be honest with you, like when I started first hearing about the concept of the Snyder Cut, like I didn't do a ton of reporting about it We didn't talk about it a ton. We, it came up a few times, but I'm a very no nonsense kind of guy. If you see something out of me, it's because I really feel about it, which actually kind of harkens back to this whole controversy.
Yeah.
Right. Of what we're doing right now. Like, I'm not somebody to just jump on something and just report a bunch of nonsense because I hate that.
Yeah.
Right. I really
looking
hate
at
that.
your channel, I mean, it doesn't seem like you're like that kind of guy. I mean, like when you look, I mean, it's very much like, hey, I do these live streams and I have open, everybody just have questions. Give me some questions.
Yeah, let's talk about some stuff.
Yeah, let's talk about some stuff. And then, and then you kind of started diving into some of that. And then it's just like, I mean, it's just kind of crazy when you found that video where he said, "Yay, Fisher." And then, like I even broke it down too, like earlier this week when, I broke down your video. It's kind of like an Inception thing. It was like a breaking down of a video, breaking down of another video. And I'm like, I hope somebody breaks down my video. Yes, it'll be crazy.
Yes.
Yes. But but it was just like, when I heard it at first, I was like, okay, when he first says it, I hear "Yay, Fisher." And then the second time he says it, there's a significant "g" happening right there.
Yes.
Significant. Like, and then everybody in the chat was like, yeah, we're all hearing like both. He said both. And the fact that he was like wholeheartedly, like on his Twitter, #Yay Fisher, #Yay Fisher. I remember looking, he's so pushing it so hard. I'm like, he knows that he said "Gay Fisher." He knows that he did. And then all of a sudden, everything that's happening right now with him walking away from YouTube and taking a break and blah, blah, blah. It was like, come on. Complete BS.
Yeah. Oh, for sure, man. And that's the thing. Like, so like if you hear something out of me, it's not because it's sensational news or like and like
you're not one of those kind of guys.
I've gotten ticked off when I thought, like, back in the early days, like when like websites like, We've Got This Covered and Cosmic Book News first came around.
Yes, thank you.
You know what I mean? And it's like, to this day, I still kind of want to take this video. Like, I did a video about like a Knight Rider movie was imminent or something, and it's like, because I was super excited about it, right? And I was like, yeah, that's cool. And then it was like, oh, now I look back, it's like, crap, like, why did I even do that?
I mean, like when you're doing like a YouTube thing, and this goes back to before Justice League came out, and I was you got to like kind of, when you're doing this, you have to do your due diligence. You got to be
absolutely.
You could be a fan, obviously, we're fans, but you also got to be like, when you see something, you got to make sure that you're not getting too excited about something that's not real, and that's what I was doing when it came to all the rumors about all the behind the scenes drama of Justice League. I was like, oh no, it can't be real. What are you talking about? They would never do something like this. And after I saw that, I mean, it was like a complete gut punch of like, oh my God, look at Cavill's face right at the beginning. I mean, the movie starts and it was just like horrific. Everything about that scene was horrific. And I'm like,
I know it's a well thought out scene. Like, it's a good scene.
That it's Billy Batson. A lot of people were like having the theory, is that Billy Batson recording the video? But,
but I mean, like, it's a well like thought scene that like, oh, that scene would work in this movie.
Yeah,
but it's like, I mean, I remember going to see it, and you heard the rumors like, oh, they had to take out the mustache, and it's like, and then you go and you see that, and you're like, oh,
no,
why did you put that at the beginning of the movie? Like,
I know, and then you got
of his face.
Yeah,
what are we doing here? And then the fact that it was like so bad that there's literally people sitting in their mom's basement doing better retouches on that than the studio. Like, what the heck, man? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, you kind of wonder like who approved that. Like, and then I felt bad too, because like when I saw it first, I saw it on the Warner Brothers lot. And I was like, holy crap. And then I actually went to the premiere, but I didn't go into the premiere. I just saw the red carpet. And when I saw Cavill, I'm like, does this guy realize that the movie opens and his face is not the pretty Henry Cavill face that we're used to seeing? Like, I was just kind of like, I felt for him when I saw him walk in. I was like, oh my God.
I know, man.
And one of my buddies who was in the auditorium, he said, he heard laughs and chuckles. And it was like, can you imagine that, being an actor and like,
no. And Zeverfet just brought up a good point. Like, there are plenty of times where Superman has been drawn. I mean, even in Man of Steel, Superman had facial hair.
Yeah.
You could literally write into the story.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah. They could have just added I don't know. Well,
like maybe it's No Shave November.
Yeah. Or
right.
that.
you know, and like Superman just is like, I'm supporting, you know, people with, you know, to fight cancer, you know, or whatever,
Exactly.
you know, and like, I got a beard now, you know, it's like something, you know, but
They could have done something. Yeah.
it's just not there, you know, especially after he came back. I didn't understand why he had to be clean shaven
He didn't.
when they brought him back, you know.
They just could have added more beard to his to what he
Yeah,
already had. I don't know.
exactly. But
But
yeah,
I think they were like harking on too much of like, we have to have Superman in all his glory in the blue suit. I mean, look what happened I mean, obviously Snyder's intention was to have him in the black and silver suit. Like we weren't supposed to see that blue suit yet.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
it was supposed to
yeah.
happen later. He had, you know, it was supposed to be symbolic of, you know, hey, being reborn, and, you know,
yeah,
it doesn't
absolutely.
it doesn't it's not taken from the Deaths of Superman comic where he needs to have the solar suit or anything like that. It's not, the suit is not that, it's symbolic. And, you know, I think, you know, he even said it on Justice Con. He was fighting back and forth with the studio because they wanted that blue suit. And so that's why he shot it in a way. And that's why they added, like, when you see the Justice League Superman suit, it's a lot shinier than it was in the previous, you know, in BVS and Man of Steel. That's why like those scenes that take place during the day, like that opening scene, and even the Flash and Superman race, it doesn't look good in daylight because there's so much chrome underneath it.
Yeah.
Because Snyder was being sneaky and going, okay, let's put some chrome underneath it. We could change it in post just by color palette change. And when you look at that clip, when you look at it, especially in high def, it looks awesome. It really looks awesome. You know, the shine looks really good with the black.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, and that's the thing, is like, I love the Man of Steel suit.
Yeah.
I think Man of Steel suit's great. I love the S. You know, I love that. Yeah. I love that whole thing. I think that's the best. I wish that they had. Yeah. I kind of wish that they hadn't changed it.
Yeah.
You know, from that, but it is what it is. But yeah, by the time you get to the Justice League suit, the blue suit, Henry is so just stacked and just beefy.
Dude, I know.
That it's like, why do we have, like, why are we padding it with plates like everybody else's crap, that because they can't get that big? Like the dude, like literally you could just put spandex on the man and he would look fine.
Oh,
like,
yeah, he would.
You know what I mean? Like, you get the definition because he's defined, you know? That was one of the problems that I had with Brandon Routh, was I felt like he looked too skinny. Yeah. You know, he didn't have that definition, and they even put a muscle suit on him, you know? So, I mean, like, what we saw is a muscle suit, and it's like, so, and the guy is super thin, trust me.
He was.
So, I mean, he still is. And so, you know, but like, man, you know, Henry Cavill is just
a beef.
And so, yeah, it's like, I don't understand why you had to have that silver plating there. Like, why are we trying to define stuff under the suit? It's like, make a suit that looks good.
Yeah.
And, you know, but yeah, it's
but I think, but like, it was just like kind of trickery where it's like, all right, we're, you know, because Snyder wanted the black suit just to represent, like, oh, he's not back to that iconic Superman yet. There's a symbolic, you know, symbolic layer to it. So,
and it's an arc. It's an arc.
It is.
Come on. Like Jarbo tweeted out earlier today. I saw, like, why don't people like arcs in their stories anymore, or something like that? You know, it's like, everybody literally, and I guess being both a Star Wars fan and a Superman fan, I'm part of two different fandoms that don't know what they want from the things that they say they like.
Star Wars. Woo.
Because I'm serious, man. Like, nobody can agree on like what this thing is, you know, and Superman especially. Like, people either love Superman or they hate Superman. And then if you ask every Superman fan, like, what best represents Superman, they're going to give you a million different things about what actually represents Superman.
But what
I'm sorry. I was just saying, that's fine.
What I find funny is, though, is like when they were like, I want a Superman like this, and they explain exactly the Man of Steel Superman. That's what I cracked up on. I want a deconstructed Superman that has to deal with like this, that, and then it's like, that's what Man of Steel and BBS were.
Okay. So you want a Superman that's conflicted?
Yeah.
With real life issues.
Yes.
And you want him to be more realistic.
Yes.
Not so overpowered.
Yes.
Grounded.
Yes.
Starting out and trying to find his place in the world.
Yes.
Trying to figure out the difference between his alien heritage and his human heritage.
Yes.
Kind of feels alienated from the world and discovering his powers.
Yes.
Yeah, we got that movie. It's called Man of Steel.
It's called Man of Steel. Okay, and then BVS capitalizes on that with Batman. With Batman, who is just like 100% like, we got to get rid of this guy. He could destroy us all. And Batman falling off the reservation.
But Batman, come on, man. Come on. Let's talk about this, because Batman wouldn't say things like that.
No, he would never.
Come on. Did you not watch Super Friends? Like, Batman and Superman are buddies.
Yay.
Come on, man.
Like,
come on. Where's the scene where Batman is driving away in the Batmobile and Superman's like flying right above him and just like, with the little hey, it's like
giving a little wink.
Yeah, that's what that movie. It shouldn't have been Batman v Superman. It should have been Batman and Superman buddies forever.
It should have been Batman W/Superman with Superman. There it is.
There you go.
There. But we got some people joining up. We got Chris Wong Swenson and we got Stephen Colbert joining the panel. What's going on, guys?
What's up, guys?
Hello, Freddie.
What's going on? Welcome, guys. Cheers. How you guys doing? Yeah. Cheers. I didn't ask you what you were drinking. What were you drinking?
Well, part of my weight loss, I drink a lot of protein.
Okay.
So I had bariatric surgery.
Okay.
And because of that, I can't process sugar the same way anymore, and so that's a good thing. Actually, it's not a bad thing.
Really? Yeah, it is.
Because I don't drink a lot of sugar. I don't eat a lot of sugar. And so it's funny. There's all these like little rules. It's like, I used to be a huge pop drinker. I don't drink pop anymore. Even diet stuff. Can't drink anything with carbonation in it. And I don't eat a lot of. I only have small amounts of sugar. So I've got like sugar-free, protein drinks that I drink a lot of. So
cheers.
I have to keep my protein high. So.
Gotcha. So he's getting high right now, guys. It's just like
protein high. Protein high,
baby. We got Mr. Scott McClellan here. Hey, he's got the cigar.
Hey, that's right. Congratulations, Scott.
Hey.
Well, congratulations, my friend.
Congratulations
for the new baby boy.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
Cheers, man.
You gave me this idea, Dave. I know.
I should have freaking got it, but I should have got a cigar. Damn it. I'm disappointed in myself, Scott. I'm sorry.
Well, you know what? After spending an entire week in the hospital, and coming home today, it was like, I've had these cigars. I can't even tell you how long I've had these cigars. So when you said that on the Film Junkie Live on Monday, I was like, damn it. I'm smoking a cigar.
Dude, seriously. Damn it. I should have gotten one. Damn it. Man, I was smoking one right with you, man. Damn. But congratulations. I'm glad everybody's home and everyone's healthy and your pictures were looking good. I especially liked your Bat Dad shirt that you were wearing when you were holding your kid. I mean, perfect.
Thank you. My wife made that for Christmas years ago. So all credit to her, because that's the reason it's the Batfleck bat. Is because I was like, this is the bat you're going to put on this shirt. I'm just saying.
100%.
Nice.
But anyways, guys, welcome. And we were just, of course, talking about all kinds of stuff and talking about, the recent Jody and Andy controversy. Look at that. And of course, what's funny is like watching Jody do that whole thing where he said, I believe Joss Whedon. I believe, That
what happened?
That frustrated.
My pop filter came off.
Okay.
You're good.
You're saying, Chris. This is what happens when you've been away for so long.
So when he said all that, it was just like, wow, dude. After hearing what Fisher said on Justice Con and being very confident in everything that he had to say, come after me, it's like, Jody's just gonna look dumb again, and it is kind of frustrating, but at the same time, it's like he's doing this on purpose. It's a persona. I think Steven, you even said that it's a persona. It's a total persona. They want to rile people up just to get their views, right?
Yeah.
I
said, like Andy, I've not known personally, but I used to watch him on Screen Junkies, and at one point, like I started watching him again when he came back, and he talked about his, the whatever he was Me Too'd and everything, but then he went back to being that Andy, probably even worse, because that's how he gets people to click on his channel. He loves that drama. He wants people to come onto his channel, and he baits them. Even his own older colleagues knows that he baits them. That's why they don't even want to do anything with him. And so when they were talking about, you know, how they were telling, I was working, and I think they were trying, and you were working too, Dave.
Yeah.
But then Garza went on, like everybody's like, you guys gotta go on. It's like, stop. That's why it's kind of interesting that his last name is Signor. It's really ignore. It just makes a lot, but how that plays into it. But that guy, I just ignore him. I mean, that's how he's really just trying to find avenues. Even when it came to like John Campea, who, however you feel about him, he had something to do with that too. Like he was trying to bait John Campea to come on his show, and he would attack him to bait him, and John Campea knew better. He's like, I know this guy already. I'm not gonna be a part of that. Yeah. And he's just looking for ways of content. And this week's content was Ray Fisher. And that's unfortunate. Yeah.
That's one of the things I tell you what that I've learned through this. I mean, this has been an interesting week, you know. For me, for sure. I think that I have live streamed with so many people this week. I've spent like 12 hours on live stream in the last 2 or 3 days, you know.
You're in demand, man.
Yeah, man. Well, you know, and that's cool. You know what I mean? I mean, that's look, I'm a huge nerd. I love this stuff, and I always love meeting new people. And like, that's why you got a channel, right? Like, you want people to see it and stuff. Like, I think it's really weird that this happened, but I'm embracing the positive part of it. I've had a lot of people like message me and say, "Hey, are you okay? Like, is everything all right? Are you dealing with this okay?" And I'm like, yeah, like I've been a very public person my whole life. I've played in a band, I've toured, I have no problem with that. And I get it. That's like, people are going to hate you and people are going to love you. So as soon as this happened, even though I thought about it, I was like, yeah, but you know what? I'm sure there's going to be a lot of positive response. And there's been an amazing positive response from people. And if you look at like even just something simple like the like to dislike ratio on some of that stuff, it's like much more likes to the dislikes. There's going to be trolls who come over and try to, just put the yay Fisher thing, whatever.
Yeah,
and,
right.
And it's like, I don't care about all that. What I love about this, and I think is funny, is I'm going to be better off by the time it's done. Right. I'm here with you guys. Yes. Right. I Ping Pong, I've watched you, like, you know what I mean? It's like, I just think it's cool because I'm meeting new people now. I'm expanding my horizons. I've been around for a while, but like, I haven't had opportunity to meet new people and really expand that. And so now in the last 2 months, I've met new people, I've expanded, and like, this is just a cool thing that just keeps happening. And now I'm doing that stuff. And then, I'm going to be who I am no matter what. And it's like this week, I've had a few different reactions. So it's like when you have somebody, when you realize that there's people like them making 4 videos about you in the last 2 days.
That's awesome.
Yeah, right. It's like, what is it? They're making videos about me. Okay.
It's free advertising. That's exactly what that is.
It's like, hey, thanks. That's pretty awesome. Yeah. And so, and then you got people, tweeting you. It's like, hey, I had one guy leave a comment who just said, "I don't know who you are, but I respect you."
See?
And I just subscribed. And I was just like, that's cool. You know, because it's like that idea of like what you stand for now, and and that's things like, I love DC. I just love nerd stuff, man, in general. It's like I tell everybody on our channel, like, just love the stuff that you love. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't love the stuff that you love. Or that somehow what you love is wrong compared to what they like, and that's the problem that I have with this whole divide thing. It's like, we want this type of DC, content, or we want this type of DC content. It's the stupidest argument in the world, especially when you realize that DC has such a great multiverse.
Right.
And you can literally have it all.
Trying to embrace right now.
AT&T is blowing that all up.
Right.
Oh, yes.
Because even within like Snyder fans now, you've got this whole like, what's true Snyder canon, and it's like the whole point of this is it's like. Yeah, sure, in relation to each other, but there's multiple canons. If you like the Snyder canon, don't like the Snyder canon, like, the option to choose. And that's really all I ever wanted. Like, there's this demand for like, no, there must be one definitive version that everyone accepts, and establish that. Well, now it has to be my version that everyone bows down
to. That's what we were
Like,
kind of talking about, that was all over the timeline today. Was Slay Oliva was man, such a beautiful man. I love that. I mean, I don't know if you saw it yourself, but
Now I've kind of been I've been online, but not online.
well, Jay Oliva was just kind of mentioning. Well, Mark Hughes from Forbes he wrote an article yesterday talking about how HBO Max should expand the Snyderverse by basically just if they can't do live action with everything, do animated. Do animated spin-offs or prequels or whatever the hell. Build on the Snyderverse. Everybody is jonesing for this Zack Snyder's Justice League. 100%. I mean, look at the numbers when it comes to Justice Con, to Comic-Con and home. It was a fan ran event, and shout out to Meg and the Nerd Queens for pulling that off, beating out Comic-Con at home.
Yes.
Regardless of what the haters say. I mean, geez. The fact that they pulled that off and the numbers are like showing that Comic-Con was a bust, Justice Con was a success.
Well, the fact that they're even in the same like that's the people are like comparing numbers and stuff. And it's like, fine for the sake of like accuracy and like to be pedantic, we can debate and find out exactly where the numbers are. Kind of home comes out ahead. But regardless, like let's say it was like 10% short or 20% short of Comic-Con at home. That is a massive.
You're talking
astounding.
Yes. Well, and when every news story. Hey, Meg.
Well, and also the perception when that's the perception anyway, right? Like the online people saw it had more buzz, fewer people total watching it. It doesn't matter by the buzz, and that's ultimately the only narrative that matters for the sake of like the nature of these movies and viability of the universe.
Yeah. Well, when even the trades are publishing stories like Variety and Hollywood Reporter, and starting Saturday night right after the black suit clip gets posted, it's like this conversation was about Justice Con, even to the point when on Monday, when Variety posted their Comic-Con at home was a bust article, and there's an entire paragraph devoted to Justice Con in there. You said, the numbers the numbers are a moot point because the story was about what happened at Justice Con. It wasn't about anything that happened at Comic-Con, and people literally forgot Comic-Con was happening. But
seriously,
but everyone within our circles was talking about Justice Con, of course, because it was what we were interested in, but it seemed to be the big enough news that, well, apparently everyone else was kind of interested in what Justice Con was doing as well. And Enosh, I want to take this opportunity to say, until Ray Fisher tweeted that clip of your video, I will be completely honest that I was not aware of you.
I think we all were kind of in that boat, which is what's great,
Well, thank the algorithm for that.
Yeah.
Well, but here's the thing, though, because you did that, and then you came on to Dave's show, who Dave and Chris are like my two, I wake up to my morning coffee and I watch them on YouTube as I'm, hurting my kids.
Yeah.
Listening to you tonight has just earned you another subscriber because of the way that you present yourself and the way that you talk. And for me, being a podcaster who has talked nothing but DC for the last 5 years and embraces I just love DC. Can I just love the things I love? I salute what the way that you present yourself, and that's what matters to me.
Oh, thanks, man. That means so much to me. I joke with people all the time because we're just coming up. I think we're just shy of about 9,400 subscribers. So
subscribe, guys.
Awesome. Yeah, so we're coming up on the big 10,000, and that's kind of big milestone for us. And so, but it's like I tell people. Because I've had people, come in obviously this week and they're just like, oh, they got so much more subscribers than you. And, and I just keep telling them like that subscriber counts are cool. It just means that people are here, that people at least clicked on a button and said, hey, we want to know when you're doing your thing. And that's awesome. And I'm very thankful for that. But, it doesn't mean that that what I have to say is any less important just because, because everybody has to start somewhere, right? And I've been in a lot of different things in my life. I've done radio, I've done different things, I've done some television, I've done some different things, and so it's like this is just one more thing. And I'm excited, but we often joke that it's like we're building this thing, man, one subscriber at a time. Because I'll get word like that from somebody. Somebody will just say, "Man, I just found you, and I don't know where you've been, but I really like this." And we'll do a live stream, and we'll get 4 or 5 subscribers, and I'm like, "Heck yeah!" Because that's the thing. We'll build it. I'd rather build it. Every time I hear somebody like talking about the algorithm, they're like, "They took all my subscribers away," and it's like, well, I've been here for quite a while, and I've never seen like this huge, like, just deviation of subscribers. It's like, I would rather have a lower subscriber count of people who are here, who are engaged. And that's what we try to do. We really try to engage with our subscribers and just people in general, and have friendships, like they feel like they know me. We call them our nerd family. And it's just, that's what we want. We want to have a relationship with people, and talk about this stuff. That's what we're here to do. And so I really appreciate that, man, for sure. Cause that's what I'm trying to build is something real and something that everybody can take ownership of. That when you come and you watch a video, you feel like you're sitting down with a friend, and we're
like you're part of a community.
Yes,
and
community is it.
And Anna Martin says here, "Hallelujah!" Give him a hallelujah. There you go.
Man of Martin knows what he's talking about. So when we first started getting super chats, Man of Martin was like one of the first people to ever give us a super chat.
There you go.
And I do this really, really good impersonation, at least people tell me, of a television evangelist.
You do have that voice. I'm not gonna lie. You do have that presence.
So Man of Martin, he gave something, and I started this thing there for a while where every time somebody gave a super chat, I'd go into this whole thing and I'd be, "Hallelujah. Yes, right there where you are, ladies and gentlemen. I need you to reach down deep right now. I need you to reach down deep, and I need you to give to the super chat. Come on, the Poindexter Lounge needs you. I know what you're saying. I know you're saying you need a miracle for this Snyder thing to happen, but I'm telling you right now that a miracle can happen today if you just reach down in your pocket, hit that super chat button, and give. Yes, give. And yea, though we are not at the Poindexter Lounge today, yes, verily, you can give yes to this channel even, because I am sure that they will turn over those finances to us, because it is only because of the grace of God. And of course, we know Snyder be his name, that he has provided for you and I to be here in this place today and celebrate all that is Man of Martin. Let us sing together. Man of Martin, oh yeah. Man of Martin, oh yeah. Man of Martin,
Cheers.
oh yeah.
I want to believe. There it is.
Oh yeah.
Cheers.
That was awesome.
Oh wow, you totally
Nice.
Oh my
There we
God.
go.
Spoke.
There we go.
Another bad
Hallelujah.
Oh my God.
Hallelujah.
I can't wait for the day it clipped out and go on Twitter. Whoever the chat is responsible for that.
Someone
For
clip
sure.
that out. Put it on Twitter.
That was
I know it
glorious.
doesn't comes out. That needs to be a film junkie shots. That's
Oh
what
no.
it needs to be.
Okay.
That's
Yeah,
great.
I'll timestamp that at about the 2-minute mark almost.
I think the at one point in the middle there.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna clip that out for sure, man. That's gonna be a good.
But it didn't bring on any more super chats, so I don't know what
I
you're.
don't know.
I got a question.
Well, you need more subscribers.
Believe with us.
Yeah, believe it. But Scott, you said you wanted to do a little giveaway right now, huh?
I don't know how you. This is your channel.
True.
All I've got to say is that in celebration
Here
of
they come.
in celebration of the birth of my third and final son.
A final.
Final. Oh yes, we closed up shop. Yes, we did.
Who's we?
That's another super
Oh,
chat. Close up.
Yeah. You gotta be careful, Steven. I saw your wife going like, "Oh my god!"
I know.
Baby smell. I was like,
She was commenting about baby smells on my Twitter feed today. So
I saw that. I saw your wife.
Yeah, and the neighbor just had a baby, and my sister just had a baby.
Oh,
You better be careful, sir.
And she's a doula, so she likes those babies.
She's gonna jump you tonight.
No, but go ahead, Scott. Go ahead,
But
Scott.
I will leave it to Dave's discretion how he would like to handle this. But I do have a 4K Wonder Woman digital code that I am willing to give away at Dave's discretion. You figure out the terms.
Biggest super chat in the next 5 minutes.
Yeah, I know.
Yes!
Give me
Oh,
money.
there you go. There's one crushed it. $5 for crushing.
I don't know. We got to figure out. I don't know what should it be. I don't even.
I don't know. I just know that I already have it digitally on 4K. I just didn't have the disc, and now I have the disc. I got that Best Buy Steel book that came out this week, and I had an extra code. And it's like I tried to give away to my friends, then my friends wanted it. So Vodka Stream, it's for you.
I'm trying to think. I don't know. I'm like totally drawing a blank of like how should we give this away? What do you think, guys? I need some help here.
Well, there's still 4 more minutes for the next big super chat.
No, it doesn't have to be a super chat. It could be. I don't know. God,
You can ponder it. I just wanted to throw it out there. I just wanted to throw it out there that I've got a code to give
He's
away.
got a code for a 4K Wonder Woman. So
any suggestions for what it should be? Hashtag Scott Baby giveaway.
Yeah, Scott Baby giveaway. Somebody should tweet me. I don't
Trivia
know.
quiz.
No, I should say Scott Wonder Woman giveaway. We're not giving away babies. Giving away.
Yeah.
It's in honor of a baby. There we go.
In honor of a baby.
Honor of a baby.
Somebody says, "Well, I'm not giving a super chat then."
Well, yeah, that snake Patty Jenkins.
Yeah.
Jody,
Oh, yeah, she's giving away source. She's a source of Jody, right?
Man. I can't even follow that.
Jarbo, if you're in there, I know. We talked about that, but
Yeah, it's like I saw Jarbo in the chat. I'm not commenting on that one.
oh, you're not going to comment.
No.
Oh.
By the way, I'm tweeting out the link to the live stream right now, and I did hashtag Scott Baby giveaway. There we go. It's out there. It's official. It's a
There we
thing.
go.
Just be his name. Hallelujah. Oh, there he
Jarbo's
is.
there. Sorry, I had to make that jab. You know, at least we're not talking about Anna. What's her name?
Anna Kendrick.
Anna
getting
Kendrick getting pounded from behind and that.
Oh my
What?
god!
Hey,
Oh my
I
God.
enjoyed Love Life. And
Oh, was
Anna
that
Kendrick- I enjoyed
love
Love
the
Life,
first
and Anna
two
Kendrick is
episodes.
one of the reasons. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I've not seen past the first 2 episodes, but they were
Right.
great.
And then, of course, we're gonna add a fifth or a sixth person in here, Mr. John.
Hey.
Garza.
Hey, nice
Yeah.
shirt.
Made it.
I
Nice
love
shirt.
the shirt.
Thanks.
Nice.
Got 2 Batman.
Thanks. You know, hear me fine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got a new location like every time you call in now.
Yeah. So
I
are
know,
you
man.
on the
I'm
couch
just-
or are you?
No, I'm in my room technically.
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 Technically, that's kind of
Yeah, technically. My room. You know.
All right.
But
Your
whatever.
your audio is all right. Your video is a little choppy.
Yeah.
hot dog stream. I don't
No
know if we can
problem.
eat a hot dog every
I know.
night.
Do you want to do a hot dog stream or no, don't do a pineapple pizza stream, please?
Eat a hot dog every time.
That's not
someone
going to
goes
do
on
a
the
pineapple
show.
pizza.
Oh, we forgot to do shots when you plugged Poindexter's channel earlier.
Oh,
Right.
That-
Yeah.
that's like a massive.
Okay,
plug,
right,
Like
here
you
it
goes.
loaded it.
Here, I still have the
Cheers.
stream up. I still have the stream up.
Cheers.
So there we go. Cheers, guys.
There we go.
Now,
plug.
yeah, and I apologize. I don't have any alcohol on me, so
How dare you, Garza? What do you expect when you come on?
I
the
know.
podcast?
I'm sorry.
Come on, jeez.
I know. I need to go buy some. I need to go buy some new alcohol.
You guys, you know what? You guys can help me. You guys can help me a little bit. So because you guys are DC centric, channels. It's like it's really interesting being a DC centric channel these days.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Because
Yeah.
it finally feels, and that's part of the reason why, like I've kind of embraced this whole thing, is because for the first time in a long time, it's like people are, and I said this actually about Batman v Superman when everybody was crapping on Batman v Superman and they hated it and stuff. The minute that that all these DC movies started going to TNT, I said, I give it less than 10 years. These movies are gonna And in 10 years' time, these movies are going to be so differently appreciated.
Oh, they already.
Well, it's like Watchmen. People are finally coming around on Watchmen.
Not that it
It's
was
about the
gonna
same
take
timeline.
10 years. Not that it was going to
Yeah.
take 10 years, but that 10 years from now, and people would tell me, you're crazy. I said, trust me, 10 years from now, people are going to be looking back on these things in a different way, because now all of a sudden, all these movies are on rotation. And the people who went to the movie theater, the people who went to the theater and they didn't pay attention because they had their hand in their popcorn, and they don't have to pay attention because they're not watching a Marvel movie, and it's like, oh, look, there's Thor, and look, there's Captain America. Cool, they're fighting, but they're not really fighting anybody. They're just fighting each other, and they're just kind of playing patty cake. So I'm just going to keep eating. And it's like, we're pulling our punches. Yeah, we know, we can see it. We're watching the movie. Thanks for telling us.
I had to give you a little jab there, Jarbo. All right, no hard feelings.
But I said, I love Matt. But
yeah, Matt's great. No, I love Matt.
But we said, I gave him a hard time about that Patty Jenkins thing.
Oh,
too.
yeah.
I'm like, But anyways, but I said, people are going to
all in good fun.
And now you look at that. It's like those things are on TV because now people are sitting at home on a Saturday afternoon and they got nothing else to do. And hey, Batman v Superman's on. It's like, I remember that movie. I didn't really like it, but I think I'm gonna give it another chance. And it's like, wait a second, I don't remember that happening. And I remember that happening because now they're sitting there paying attention to it, and it gets their attention. And then it's on again next week. And they're like, oh yeah, and so it creates this interest. And so what I think is really cool is there's been this shift as Marvel has kind of popped their bubble. That's
what it is. After
they pushed so hard.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they pushed so hard to get to the end of Endgame that it's like it felt like it's all over. Even though they had more to do, it just kind of felt like, oh, well, and everybody kind of dispersed, like, oh, we're done. Okay, let's all go our separate ways. And now they got to kind of rebuild and almost start the thing over from scratch.
Yep.
For DC with the introduction of the Snyder Cult.
Cult.
With yes. Which apparently I'm the leader of. Apparently, like
yeah.
Do not claim leadership. Yeah. No, sir. That will get you in all trouble.
Trust me,
we're all anti-Snyders here
from all angles.
People have been joking with me. Zever's been joking with me, like calling me the leader of the whole thing because apparently I've been deemed that by Jody. Like, oh, I know this guy. Oh, look at this guy, this Larry Bird looking guy. That's also my new nickname.
Nice.
Internet, apparently. Somebody messaged me tonight and said he's calling you Larry Bird on his stream, and I'm like, I don't get that, but okay.
It doesn't make sense. Yeah, you don't look like
any sense. But okay. But so anyways, but I'm just saying, like, it's really cool now to be in this position as a DC channel instead of taking all this flack. All of a sudden, people are taking notice, and there's interest, And I don't know how do you guys feel about that? That like, I mean, are you guys seeing this change, or were your demographic typically DC people?
I have a comment before Scott talks because he's going to trump me, and I'd like to get mine out before it's irrelevant.
The floor is yours, of course.
I run a co-host a podcast, BVS by the Minute, and we're going through Batman v Superman 1 minute at a time. Oh yeah, cheers.
That's our dream.
And we got a really good response because there's such a passionate fan base around that when we started going through it, people were like, "This is really cool. We appreciate the like magnifying glass kind of look at each minute of the movie." It's been picked apart so much. So there's stuff people love in there. There's stuff that we find every minute that we, never would have thought of. And like, this is the kind of thing that you can do with that you can't with a Snyder movie or a minute can't necessarily do with like a minute of a Marvel movie. Just because of the way he constructs it and all the layers and symbolism that he packs in there. And like I said, we got a good response, and after the Snyder Cut was announced, not only did like our listenership like go up, but we got tons of notes and like reviews in iTunes about like, from people that I know even like personally, or people that I follow on Twitter or whatever that say I've known this podcast has existed for like a year now, but I couldn't bring myself to listen to it. It was dedicated to a universe that was dead. Yeah. I didn't want to listen. I didn't want to put the time in to listen and get to the end without knowing that there was going to be a true sequel. And now all of a sudden, like there's this really enthusiastic surge of not just people that are appreciating the movie the way they always have, but that are excited to follow the path to the end of it because they know there's a light at the end of the tunnel that they're really excited to get to. And that's kind of an appetizer for what I'm sure Scott's going to talk about. You'll find that really fascinating.
Well, yeah, because I'm not sure if you're aware, but over at Squadcast Media, there we go. On DC Film Squadcast, where we were originally titled the Suicide Squadcast, my co-host Tim prepared some numbers right before we were asked to be in Comic Book Debate's Snyder Cut video, and we documented that post Justice League, if you measured our high point was the Wonder Woman review that we did. We hit our highest numbers on our Wonder Woman review, and Justice League we eventually got some good numbers just because people finally just kind of said, okay, is it really as bad as we think it is? And they finally decided to listen to our review. But if you measure from our Justice League review to our Aquaman review, we had a 63% decrease in downloads. And we use that as an objective measure of enthusiasm. Like, how can you measure enthusiasm? Well, the only thing we can do is
they're on the right course finally.
Right. The movie does make $1 billion. I mean, that cannot be denied. But as far as that core enthusiastic DC fan base that had been tuning in, and there's a thread you can go at Alan Fire, that's my co-host's Twitter feed, and it was a continuous upward trend from our Man of Steel review all the way to Wonder Woman. Justice League was okay, and then you hit Aquaman, 63% drop, and then it continued to drop from Aquaman to Shazam to Birds of Prey. And then the most dramatic thing we have on record is that when we dropped our episode on May 20th, where we reacted to the announcement, that single episode gained back the entire 63% drop.
Really?
In 24 to 48 hours.
Wow.
And
we all saw an increase, man.
We all saw an increase.
Yeah.
And then we had listeners, like you said, friends, people who we'd be chatting with on DMs and emails and just going back and forth on Twitter conversations. We saw people we hadn't seen in 3 years. Like when we, at the end of our announcement episode, we talked about the numbers and we were just honest about how we almost quit. The show almost ended. Like, we lost our enthusiasm, but we kept on going because we had non-Snyder fans who still loved what DC was doing. And we still love DC in general. But we had people after the episode aired who would respond in a subtweet underneath that episode going, yeah, I was one of those. I'm so sorry. Thank you guys for sticking with it. I'm back.
Yeah.
I feel the enthusiasm. And the entire conversation has been, wow, this feels like 2016 again.
Yeah.
And so that is definitely something that we have. That's something that we have felt as a almost exclusively DC network of 4 or 5 podcasts. And yeah, we definitely have been able to record that.
See, and that excites me so much as a fan, as a YouTuber, in general, because I look at that and we saw an uptake too in people, and just also the overall positivity.
Yeah, that's
what which I think is interesting. And it's another thing that I took issue actually with Jody on when I first discovered Jody was this idea that's out there that people keep talking about, that it's like, oh, we want this lighter DC. We want like to kind of go back to Super Friends and watch, them all be buddies and friends. And that's who DC should be, because that's kind of what the MCU is, right? And it's like, that's what Marvel is. They're all buddies, except for when they got in that fake fight, and and it's like, okay, but
a fake fight, yeah.
Well, I always say it's a fake fight because if you watch that scene in Civil War,
oh yeah, you watched Black Widow and Hawkeye.
Nobody's fighting. Nobody, the one almost casualty of that is what's his name? Rhodey. And
War Machine.
War Machine should first of all, he should be like squashed inside. I don't in the machine or not, but even then it's like, okay, so you get this little bit of a casualty of he can't walk, but then the next movie because they kind of just do that. I mean, he's fine, he's basically I got fitted with some stuff and now I'm good, let's go, and so there's no There's no check to pay. There's no stakes. There's
It was
no
like, I
check
remember
to
they had
pay.
that scene even in the trailers of Stark holding him, and I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, cool, maybe
They
they'll
already
have
blew the
consequences."
wad on that.
Yeah, there's no consequence.
And it was a
No
cool
consequence.
shot, like, and it should mean something, and it should weigh on Tony. Like that should be the thing that pushed to do more, and then they take that away, and it's like I don't even know what his to do anything.
Yeah,
And I think it's
that was
funny
one
that
of
you
the
called it, and I think it's funny you called them episodes because one of our co-hosts on the network refers to the MCU as cinematic television because it is just episodes in a season of TV, especially with. I mean, whether you like it or not, you have to give credit to Marvel Studios for. They have a machine that just pumps these things out.
Absolutely, and I do give them credit for that for sure, because they found a formula that works, and it basically is you basically kind of recap everything for most of the movie. You give everybody about 5-10 minutes of actual progression to set up as a commercial for the next movie.
Pretty much.
You know,
you had the mid-credit scene and the post-credit scene. It's like
Yeah.
the mid-credit sets up the next movie. Post-credit is just something like, hey, look at this. You know,
yeah. Hey, you know, this is going to come down the line and you're going to get this. And so you know, I look at it as with what's going on now with DC, I'm so excited about the possibilities, you know, like wherever this goes from here, whatever happens, I'm just glad that we're getting this universe, because that was the thing about Man of Steel that I loved. That was the thing about Batman v Superman that I loved, was this realism, because that's what I was saying is one of the things that I took point on with Jody was this idea that everything had to be bubblegum and happy and fun. And I don't have a problem with some of that. And that served its time. And that's definitely a part of that universe. But I looked at him and said, haven't you picked up a comic book in the last 30 years? Like, that's not who these characters are. Like, everybody who wants, you know, like, they expect Batman to be coming out, pow, bam, you know, like, what the heck? Like, like, what is that? Like, oh my gosh, I actually lost a friend over Batman v Superman.
Wow.
Literally lost a friend.
I lost a lot of friends.
Because this guy, but I mean, this guy was a diehard Batman fan. And his whole thing was he refused to watch Batman v Superman when it came out. He was like, I'm not going to see it because he heard that Batman kills.
Okay, he's not a diehard Batman fan.
And I'm just having this conversation with him on Facebook one day. And I'm like, dude, like, that's because he had this like private little, you know, Facebook group of his nerd friends, and they all felt the same way. And he invited me to it because I hadn't known him very long, but I had known him for about a year, and he invited me to this group. And so I'm in this group and we're talking, and Batman v Superman was coming out, and I was talking about how excited I was for it. He's like, I am not going to see that movie. But the crazy thing is his favorite Batman movie was the Keaton 1989 Batman,
who killed a lot.
Yeah. And I'm like, and I said, well, hold on, man. I said, how can that be? I'm like, the guy had machine guns on the Batmobile and he was shooting at the Joker, and like, I'm sorry, but that guy in the bell tower that he wraps his legs around and knocks into the bell and then throws down the shaft,
he blew up Axis Chemicals, and
that dude's dead.
Yeah.
That dude ain't coming back. And I'm like, and then Batman Returns, like, he stuffs a bomb down a fat guy's pants and shoves him in a hole. That dude ain't having a good day.
Oh no, I mean, Batman
that's not even poof. Oh, look at that, it's so cute.
Batman
Well,
always on the
what's
I get
what's
tired.
real funny about that though is, like, you know who agrees with him? Alfred in the movie.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Does anything he wants.
Right.
like, you watch the movie and Alfred's like, you shouldn't be doing this. This is how you are. Like, this is like the bat. Like, and it's like this. That's the whole. Like, so when you say like that's not my Batman,
Yeah.
Not at all. We had
Right
this
at the
conversation.
beginning, it's right
had
at the
this
beginning, like we always say, it's like new rules when he drops a newspaper, new rules.
Yep.
Right there. The fact that he branded some guy, it's like, okay, what are you doing here, buddy?
Even that being said, like, we had this conversation. I had this conversation with him, and he just was not hearing it at all. And so, I started sending him literally. I started just going through YouTube just randomly and finding videos of every time Batman killed, and I started sending it to him, and like, he got really ticked off at me. And I didn't see the fact that he was like, stop it, I don't want to see this, you know, whatever, because I just was like, copy paste. I got back, he was really
awesome.
I had like 12 videos in the thread. And I said, look, dude, I'm really sorry. I didn't see that you said stop. If I would have seen that, I would have stopped. I said, but it just proves the point. And he comes back and he's like, well, I've been reading. He's like maybe 7 years older than me. And he's like, I've been reading comics longer than you. I'm like, that's the dumbest thing ever. I'm like, I still have access to all those same comics. It's not like they went away. Like, what the heck? And then I said, Well, okay, but here's another thing. If you got all these comics, what happened to Batman after Robin died? Like, Batman got screwed up.
Yeah.
Batman was that's some nut stuff, and Alfred was trying to get him back from the brink.
That's the entire point of A Lonely Place of Dying is Tim Drake going, Batman needs a Robin.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like,
And they emphasize that in Batman v Superman. Yeah.
And I just kept asking him, like, what part of this don't you understand, man? Like, you don't want to hear from the actual sources of stuff that's actually happened. You don't want to hear from the actual movie that you say you like. You don't want to hear from the comics. What is your problem? and then when Batman v Superman came out and they're like, Batman wouldn't use a gun and start shooting everybody. I'm like, yeah, he would if he was in a warehouse and people were shooting at him and he was trying to get out of there. Yeah, he would. And he's a ticked off Batman because he's been through the loss. He is a 40-something-year-old Batman who has seen everything, and he explains it in the movie. You know, it's like, what do you guys need? You guys need it spoon fed? Here you go. Batman,
if he doesn't, Martha's gonna die. Like, great time to stick to your rules, dude. Like, Martha died, but I didn't shoot anyone, so it's a win.
Well, and Enosh, something else you said about when it was the fact that it's been on TNT all this time. I still remember having enough conversations with people who probably would have gone to see Batman v Superman, but fell into that awful trap of, well, I heard it wasn't good, and it's like, and whether it's Rotten Tomatoes or anything else, it's like, what happened is when some people, not all people, I mean, and there are people who legitimately do not like that movie. I understand why they don't like that movie, and they have every right to feel that way because they personally do not enjoy that movie. I'm not talking about those people because I have friends who I respect who feel that way, and I just have to go, do your thing. Guess what? The movie exists. You don't have to watch it. Just don't crap on me for someone who, like, I think it's the movie I've watched the most in the last 3 years. But there are those other people who fell into that lemming mentality of, I heard it wasn't good, so I didn't give it a chance, because granted, movies cost a lot these days. But when it's on TV and then you finally watch it and then you get those reactions, people go, that wasn't that bad, actually.
Yeah.
Well, especially like with HBO Max putting the Ultimate Edition on there.
Right.
That's what I'm so glad that they put the Ultimate Edition.
Batman v Superman. That's how it starts. It's just
how it
it's like, yeah, that wasn't that bad. Then the next time you see it, it's like, actually, that was pretty good. And I missed that part last time. Like, I think I'm in love with Batman v Superman.
Exactly. So when it comes to this universe, I mean, one of the biggest things that was happening today and yesterday was, this whole idea that the Snyderverse could continue.
Stop.
This is where Garza is going to come in.
Stop.
Garza, you've been way too fucking quiet
because here's
now.
the thing.
So it's like, I gotta ignite.
Here's the thing. I was waiting.
No, I was waiting to actually talk, and I just kept hearing people go on and on and on. So I was like, well, I'm just not going to say anything because I might as well. But if you're going to ask a question, I feel like everybody should answer. And right, me and Chris didn't answer when we were talking about 2016 versus now. That's what everybody feels like, right?
Yeah.
But yet, it doesn't feel like 2016. You want to know why? Because in 2016, I mean, I'm going to be completely real. I wasn't on Twitter in 2016. I barely was on any kind of social media in 2016.
Such a part-time.
The only thing I knew about was, exactly. The only thing I knew about was I was going to go watch, BVS. I was super excited about it, and I loved it. And I watched it in the theater twice, and I said, dude, this is amazing. Like, the greatest thing. And it was kind of because, like, even Wonder Woman, when it came out, like, I was kind of on Twitter a little bit, but it was because of Justice League that I got on social media. But what I remember back then in 2016 is that everybody just wanted to see that film. They were okay with whatever it was that Zack was doing. Like, that was it. Everybody supported. Anybody that loved BVS was like, dude, I love what Zack did. I love it. And I don't know if maybe it's hubris to these fans. I think it truly is. That, you spend 3 years fighting for something, right? Fighting for what you believe is true artistic integrity and true artistic freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if that person that you were fighting for ends up doing something that you weren't aware of, and you have the audacity to sit there and say, nah, I don't believe that. Nah, I don't think you should do it. I'm not okay with that. Well, then what the fuck were you doing these past 3 years? Like, what truly were you saying, yeah, you know what? I really appreciate that. You weren't sitting there going, no, I want BVS, but I want it my way. I want it the way I want it. No, we got BVS and we were happy with it. We found out we were eating 30 minutes. We were like, dude, great. You weren't sitting there going, well, yeah, but why didn't you give me an extra hour? Why didn't you give me this extra stuff? Well, why aren't you doing this for me? Because I deserve it, because I'm a fan. I went to the theaters twice and I saw it. Like, and it's crazy. It's because I guess maybe when you fight for something for so long, you finally get it. You feel like you have possession over it. Like you feel like you can control it now. Like, oh, well, I got it, so I'm going to get it however I want. And it's the oddest thing to me to sit there and it makes them mad to see like people. Yeah, to see people basically turn on Jay Oliver, like today. It was it's the strangest thing to me where people are like, no, I don't want an animation.
I will not support any Snyderverse that is done in animation.
Yeah,
I will not.
But they won't even watch it.
That's why I posted that tweet yesterday where I said I am a 30-year-old man who loves animation. Any questions? I don't get this. As someone who you can, as most of the people in this chat have seen my room in down here. It's like I don't care. I don't care if it's live action. I don't care if it's graphic novels. I don't care if it's animation. I don't care. Just give me the content and I will inject it into my veins. I don't get this. So Garza brings up an excellent point, and I think, as I always like to relate things to cliches that I see in movies and TV shows because it becomes weirdly relevant. It's like that. It's like any kind of war movie you see. It's like at the end of Patton when George C. Scott sitting there going, "The war's over. I don't know what to do now because I'm a soldier."
That's pretty much what it is.
I fight. What happens when the soldier doesn't have a fight anymore? They look for the next fight. And it's like, guys, we won.
We won. Yeah,
we won.
Victorious.
It's frustrating when some people actually said, like, was the point in all this? It's like, what the hell do you mean? What was the point in all this?
That's not what I signed up for.
What do you mean? Like just a couple months ago, we were just fighting for the Snyder Cut. And now all these expectations came on with it. Like
the strangest thing to me is because people expect, okay, now that we got the Snyder Cut, they're expecting 2 and 3, like it's done in the bag. Like, why not? Like they think in themselves, oh, you know what? Well, we already got the Snyder Cut, so we're gonna get some more. It's like, no, dude, there's no guarantee that we're gonna get anything else. Like, obviously,
well, there will be a campaign for part 2 or season 2, however it comes, and like that is, and that's just a reality, and that's even if they already know for, like, let's say they've already signed for it, they're gonna make you campaign for it because they hashtag getting used, right?
Yeah.
So like the HBO Max bought a fandom is what they bought with this, and they bought a fandom that loves to make noise for free online, and they're going to and they're going to expect or to do that. It's not a bad thing, but it is an ongoing effort. Yeah. But it's going to continue. I think the interesting thing about sort of about what Garza was saying is when you talk about the notion of like the Snyder Cut movement, is that it came from a lot of different places. And I think the problem with the tribalism that you get in these things is people form these labels and these groups that they sort themselves into. And part of it's human nature, because that then allows them to easily categorize people and make assumptions about them. And so they'll say, okay, like, I'm a Snyder fan and you're a Snyder fan, therefore we are in alignment in all these ways. When like that could just be a single point of similarity between them. When in reality, you got people who are DC fans who happen to like what Snyder does, that wanted to see the Snyder Cut. You have people who are Snyder fans who don't really care about DC as much, but want to see more films from Zack Snyder, or they want to see his vision fulfilled. And then you have all sorts of stuff in between. And one of the segments that you had was there's like an anti Marvel, and or anti blogger, anti anyone that has a platform bigger than me group
Yeah.
that became a strong part of it, and they were a very vocal voice because they were there, they were there for the Dark Knight at critics that didn't like the Joker got like lambasted online by people, and so there's a lot of people who I think were invested in it. Yeah, they wanted to see the Snyder Cut. Yeah, they like DC. Yeah, they like Zack Snyder. Yes, they want some kind of artistic integrity. Maybe jury's out on that. But what they wanted most of all was for all the bloggers and all the YouTubers and all the podcasters who said it's no good, it's never going to happen, to be so destroyed by it happening that they had to leave the internet or something. And that didn't happen. Snyder Cut happened. All of the bloggers that said that they didn't want it are now like, okay, cool, this is happening, and they moved on, because that's how it works. No one was gonna quit because of screenshots of them saying it wasn't gonna happen. No one was gonna be so embarrassed that they delete the. I mean, I'm sure there were a handful, maybe, of people that were like throwing the towel, but like Jody monetized it perfectly, right? Some people changed their tunes, other people dug in and went like, "Oh, you're rewarding toxic fans." Everyone's got their take, and they just continue on.
Yeah.
May 21st was no different than May 19th, other than they were just talking about the fact that the Snyder Cut existed now instead of saying that it didn't. And I think that made a lot of people mad. And so now the next thing they're looking for is like, what's the next way that we're going to stick it to those people that we don't like? And they're not going to go away. There's always going to be a Jody.
I know it's not, but it's the fact that they have the confidence now to sit there and dictate what they think should be real or not. And, and like somebody in here in the chat is asking, it's like they're not saying that they don't want animation or that they're against Snyder for wanting animation. And I get it. Like the fact that you think you know better than Zach, and I'm not calling that person that's in the chat this, I'm just saying in general, the fact that you are that confident to go, I know what's better than what Zach knows. That's where you kind of go, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, dude, because here's the thing, Zach knows what he's doing. He's not sitting, he can't direct every fucking thing that is involved with any DC product. Like,
Stone
that's what I don't
had
understand.
animation in the title,
Yeah, film, television, animation. Yeah.
And it's,
I think it goes back to a very similar thing with the canon, how people want everyone to submit to their prime canon. They wanted everyone to submit to the Snyder canon, submit to the Snyder fans, kneel before Zod. And that didn't happen. In fact, what happened is 18 to all of it. The people that like Shazam can still like Shazam. The people like BVS can still like BVS. Or if you like both. And they're like, no, the people that like Shazam have to be embarrassed and they have to have nothing to enjoy anymore, right? Only people that enjoy Batman v Superman can get more of that content. And I don't know.
You know what this makes me happy about is that you guys are having the same conversation, even though like I've never been on this stream and I haven't met you guys before, that we're all having the same conversations and that we're all saying the same things. Pretty much. Like that this is how we feel, and that grows. If we keep talking about this stuff, and like there's been people ask me like, well, don't you think that it's really toxic that you just went through this whole thing with Jody and stuff? And I said, look, I'll take that hit from their side because they're not going to like me anyways. Right. I'm never going to win over Jody's fans. I guess they're watching my video. I don't know if you guys saw my apology video today.
Yeah.
But so I'm never going to win them over. No matter how much I try to appeal to them as people and as a DC fan, I'm never going to win them over. And you know what? Quite frankly, they're not going to win me over to their way of thinking and the way that they do things. Okay.
Yeah. And you were pretty diplomatic with your video.
Because I try to be.
Yeah.
You
understood. You were like, hey, these people are human. No matter what, we're all human. They're trying to do their thing. And you actually had a pretty good take on it. I
appreciate that. I appreciate that. And so the thing is like, I said that, because like, I'm not going to probably win them over. Now, I do have some people on my channel who come to my channel regularly who do support both of us somehow. And I think that that's good. Like that's fine with me. But like you said that Stephen, like you were talking about that whole idea of like, you got to have one or the other, and we're going to fight if it's not that way. And we got to come at odds with each other. And I'm just sitting back here going, look, we're getting the characters that we love. in some kind of way, and everybody gets it. I got one guy who keeps coming to the channel, and he's one of the guys who supports both of the channels, and he's just like, no, the Snyderverse must die. I cannot have this. Like, it's just going to ruin everything. And why do we have to even have it? Just let it go. And I'm like, what part of all of it don't you understand?
I mean, is he trying to track down every copy of The Dark Knight Returns and burn it?
Saying, like, it's like they're telling you you're going to get what you want. You're going to get the stories that you want, and I'm going to get the stories what I want. Why can't you let my thing exist if I can let your thing exist, and we can all, and it can all coexist?
And maybe if we're lucky, they'll have a one day our universes will meet up in a movie, and Ben Affleck will kill
crisis.
And so that's the thing about that with all of that, I'm not going to win them over, but you know what I can do is like being kind of thrust into the position that I've been put into this last
why is that?
I appreciate it. And you know what? And I'm honestly, I use the term on another thing. There's the term being basically called for such a time as this. Right. And I really feel that this is a time where we need people who are not extremists, right? Where it's like, we're either at one side extreme and we're ready to just kill everybody, or we're at the other side, we're ready to kill the other side. But people, and I'm not saying that I'm the leader of that. I'm saying we need more people with that kind of mentality to stand up and say, we're going to be leaders of this thing, and show people what it means to be a fan of DC, what it truly means to be a fan of DC, that it's not about one or the other or these extremes, that it's about all of it together. And that's what I want. That's what I want to use the platform now that I've been given. The fact that people actually, it just blows my mind that like people all of a sudden care. Like, cause yesterday, like the only people who cared were the people who come to my channel. Nobody, you guys hadn't heard of me. Scott had never heard of me and didn't know who the heck I was. And that's fine. But like today, it's like all of a sudden people care about what I have to say, and that's kind of cool, But it's like, okay, so what are you going to do with that? And it's like my message is no different than it was yesterday. Is the same thing that you guys are saying. And that's the thing, is we got to grow that. We've got to keep on with that and talk about that. It's like, we're going to get what we want. And this is great. And Garza, you bring up you brought up a huge point that I have to deal with in both of my fandoms, because being a Star Wars fan,
see how we all
Star Wars.
like seriously, it's so bad being somebody who is very much out there that I like The Last Jedi.
Good.
And you know what?
Yeah,
There's people.
I love it. I love The Last Jedi, except for all the jokes.
Right.
Like, other than that, dude, it's amazing.
It's a good fucking movie.
I see the critical things of it. And actually, when I saw Rise of Skywalker, it made me realize, Garza, that I love The Last Jedi. Right? I love the concepts in it. And people have lost their mind on me about it. And it's funny because leading up to the Rise of Skywalker, we actually did this thing where, because there was so much negativity about it, and people are so just angry that like Star Wars wasn't what they predicted it was going to be. And I said that was what I loved about it, because for the first time in the last 4 movies, I didn't know what the ending was going to be. Like it went someplace that I couldn't have. And it was, for the first time, I felt like I could sit here and watch a Star Wars movie and just enjoy it and be told the story. Like you were talking about, like, I'm not trying to act like I know more than Zach. I'm not trying to act like I know more than the people who are telling me the story. They're in that position to tell me this story. And then I have to take it and think, well, do I like this story or do I not? If I like the story, great. If I don't like the story, what's the next story? This is not the last story. This is not the last Star Wars story that's ever going to come out ever. Trust me. It's owned by Disney.
That's the thing too. That's the thing that people don't really, I don't think, seem to understand, is that, if Zach were to come out tomorrow and say he's doing these films in animation style, regardless of what they are, if Zach says anything, it's going to be a series, it's going to be a film, it's going to be this, or it's going to be that. Why? Like, are you telling me that you wouldn't support whatever Zach does, whatever decision? This isn't 2016 or 2017. This is now. He has literally got AT&T in the palm of his hand, and he can do whatever he wants. So if he's going to come out and say something, if he's going to come out and say, I'm doing this for a reason, are people going, no, that's not the reason I like, and I don't like what you're choosing. So
I didn't sign up.
I don't
for
like you. Yeah.
Didn't
It's
sign
just
up for
like Chris, explain to me a little bit about that, because you've been following, you've been talking Snyder literally since I feel like 2016, right? And imagine people actually telling you, hey, you know what? The decision Zach's making, I don't agree with it, so I don't support it whatsoever. Like,
I don't get it. Like today, like even when they were arguing with Jay Oliva, you were saying Slay Oliva when he was attacking people like Bob Chipman and everything like that. And now when it comes down to the point where he's talking his truths, he knows he's the guy behind the production. He's talking to Zack Snyder pretty much daily.
Well, that's what
right. So it boggles my mind. Like I said, I've been I support Zach's vision. I was, at the beginning, we were fighting for a movie, but after a while, when you learn about all the things that happened, Autumn and everything, I was like, no, justice got to be done, man. I want to fight for this guy to be able to make whatever he wants, however he wants, anything he wants. And then I'm a Zack Snyder fan anyway, so I love everything that he's done. Right? And the animation, even the animation that came with Watchmen, the Black Freighter thing, is like, I love everything that he's done. So of course I'm going to say yes to whatever he wants to get done, and it's going to be him. If it's his decision. And
but what about the question? But what about the question we all get asked? But what if the Snyder Cut isn't good?
Oh, I know, Chris.
Well, let me tell you this: it's going to be better no matter what. It's going to be better than what we got.
That's what I tell them. Like, well, you know what? I'll take that chance because I really liked Man of Steel. I really like Batman v Superman, and I like what what Zach has done in the past. So I'm willing to roll those dice.
Yes.
I'm going to bet I'm pretty confident.
All right. We're all pretty confident. I just always loved the like, what if it's not good question, just in general, because it's the first time people had ever considered that about anything ever.
Well, let me watch it first.
It's like
let me see it. Just give it to me.
Imagine being that person where it's just like every time like a trailer comes up and you're like, yeah, but what if it's not any good?
It's the point about being a fan. It's the point about being a fan and going. It's all about It's all about your mentality when you walk into a movie. It's are you walking into a movie saying prove to me that you're good, or are you walking into a movie saying prove to me that you're bad? Because thank you, Dave, for doing that.
Arms,
It's like, are you folded arms, or are you like, okay, let's get this started? Because I'm going to tell you, the more you're going to enjoy a movie is the more you go into it going, this is going to be good. Because you're already primed yourself for excitement. You don't set up that artificial barrier between you and your enjoyment of the movie. And let's be honest, why do we
sucks? What if it's bad?
Guess what? I don't know. Guess what?
Cancel the whole thing.
And I hadn't thought of that, Stephen. Stephen, I hadn't really thought of that. I should probably spend some time thinking about that, Stephen. When I see this trailer.
Let people know. Let people know.
I'm going to get on Twitter right now and ask that question. What if it is bad? Because when we do go back to the movie theater, Stephen, I'm going to totally annoy my family every time we go to the movies, because every time we see a trailer that goes, well, that looks pretty cool. They go, yeah, but what if it's bad?
What if it's bad?
And why do we stand director? Oh, stop it.
Oh, you got the kid with you?
Oh, I had to. Yeah. Okay. Let's do it. Let's do a vote. We gotta get the last one in there.
Cheers.
That's a family plug, right?
There it is.
Oh, you better believe it. Okay.
I gotta get some more.
Yes, I know. Stop it.
What's his name?
Callum.
Callum, nice.
Oh, it's Callum.
I like that.
Yeah.
Callum.
But I mean, why do we stand directors? We stand directors because we like their work. Yes. And it's pretty much a 99. It's that 99% chance that anything they make we're going to enjoy it. I'm sorry. If David Fincher makes a movie, I'm probably going to love it. If Christopher Nolan makes a movie, I'm probably going to love it. I mean, it gets a point when you get old. When you get old enough and you recognize, like, I didn't realize I was a David Fincher fan until I actually looked up his filmography and went,
oh yeah, he
oh hell, I love these movies.
Yeah,
right.
Fight Club 7, Zodiac. Oh shit.
Well,
Yeah, exactly.
Like, pay attention to
Scott,
the names.
that's what I bring up every time somebody says they want to fire Kathleen Kennedy. I go, remember this movie that you loved? That was Kathleen Kennedy. Every time we watch a movie with my family, we watched Signs a few weeks ago with my kids, and they had never seen the movie. So we pop in Signs, and right at the beginning, it's like Kathleen Kennedy, and my whole family goes, "We're probably going to like this movie, aren't we?" Because everybody and they looked at me and they go, "Did everybody else hate this movie too?" And I'm like, "No." And then like Indiana Jones pops up, Kathleen Kennedy. We like this movie too. Like, did everybody hate this when it came out? No, they like this one too. So
I'm sure we can find one, but
I'm sure.
what if it's bad? What if it's bad? I think that what Scott said is something that I think is also really important to keep in mind about, like, the way my co-host Andrew Dice is in the comments under. I saw Owls of Ga'Hoole by the minute was in there as a joke, but by the minute is in there. That's Dice, and he said that the Snyder Cut is not a hamburger. And it's a thing that he said on Twitter a while back, that, like, we're not. That's the thing about about auteur directors that people don't understand, that it's not a product. It's not like we're going out to get, like, if you're going to go get a hamburger, what if it's bad? That's actually a fair question. Maybe it's going to make you not feel so great. Like, or maybe, you want to consider those things, because that's, the whole point of that is, like, for, it's a product that you're consuming most of the time.
Yeah.
But when you get someone like Scott said, Fincher or Nolan, you're probably going to enjoy it. It's not just because you don't go into that wondering, like, what if it's good or bad. It's because it's coming from a point of view. It's coming from a unique perspective, and you want to see their perspective on it. Yeah. And I know that you guys started Squadcast because of very similar reasons after Man of Steel. But the reason that we started BVS by the minute was because we felt like there was a conversation that normally happens after movies. Like, if you see movies with friends, then you go to, like, the IHOP or whatever, and you talk about it. But then now social media is here. And so that kind of became a collective, like, oh, we all talk about this stuff after. And, like, that never happened after Batman v Superman. It was like, it was the reviews bombed. And then all the articles were like, here's why the reviews are so bad. And you don't have to see it if you don't want to. Like, you're not required to see it just because Batman's in it. And it deserved to be bad. And just all the trashing. And it was just hyper focus on, is it a good or bad movie? And even the fans of the movie were arguing, yes, it's good. People that didn't like it were arguing, no, it's bad. And, like, that is the literally most boring conversation you could possibly have about any movie, is whether it's good or bad. Or, like, people are always like, how many stars do you give it? It's like, out of what? In what category? I mean, you want me to rank the cinematography? And, like, how do you weight that? Is cinematography worth more than story? And, like, it's like, I have no interest in ranking movies and scoring movies. Like, I'd be a terrible reviewer, because, like, I'm more interested in looking at, like, what's interesting about it to me. And so you get someone like Snyder, and with a Snyder Cut, what if it's bad is the least interesting question possible, because I want to know what happens. I want to know, what does Zack Snyder think the Justice League means? Why does he think they're important? Why does he think this is an important story to tell in the modern world? And you know what? Maybe I won't like it. Maybe I'm not going to agree with his story, but it's going to be a unique answer that I'm not going to get from any of these other movies that are in this genre. Like, Endgame didn't tell me why it's important that it happened in 2019. Is that when it happened? 2018, 2019, right? But, like, BVS happened in 2016, and, like, that's a like, there's things that we talk about. There's things that happened in that movie that are even more relevant now. We just recorded the podcast about the last episode that we did. Should be coming out in a day or a couple days here.
What's that podcast?
Batman v Superman by the minute. Where Batman, he just found out, Bruce was just found the white Portuguese, and he said, it's kryptonite, it's a weapon, we're going to kill him. And then Clark goes to the police station, and the police have been, like, turning a blind eye to the fact that Batman is branding people who are getting killed in prison. And on the desk at the police station, they've got a cartoon of Batman using the Gothamville slugger, I think is what it's called. That's like the bat signal, but it's like Batman is committing like brutality on people, and the police are like, yeah, we're in favor of that. And it's like that happened in 2016. Not that like this wasn't a relevant concept in 2016, but like we're talking about this in 2020. This is a conversation. This movie is a part of a zeitgeist that is happening. I not that like Marvel doesn't ever touch on those things, not even to trash on that, because they're doing I don't like getting involved in that conversation either, but like where you don't get those movies from everybody.
No.
And even if I disagree with it or don't like it or it's bad or whatever, it doesn't matter, because I'm getting a story from a storyteller, not a product from a assembly line.
Well, to use your analogy of food, right? I used this when Justice League came out and people were talking about BVS and Zack Snyder and all that. And I was like, well, okay, imagine you go get sushi or something. You go and eat, right? And you eat it and you get sick. I mean, usually if you get sick, you know, you may not go and eat that food again, right? I mean, you'd be like, no, I'm not going to eat it, or I'm not going to go to that restaurant, or something's going to happen to where you have some kind of bad reaction to it, right? But I'm not going to sit there and every time I go to another sushi restaurant, bring up that one fucking time that I ate and I got sick again. Because that's what people were doing. They were going, well, yeah, but this film isn't the way I want it because of all this other stuff. And it's like, well, if you keep talking about what you liked about something else, you're never going to enjoy anything new, right? And so I found it odd that people would sit there and complain about BVS all the time. Like we're talking about 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. People are still talking about it with Batman and Superman and all of these political aspects. And I'm going, yeah, and I'm going, dude, you obviously when you ate whatever you ate, it affected you in some way. It wasn't bad, because if it was bad, you would dislike it. You wouldn't even talk about it, because I know I don't bring up films that I don't like. I don't ever sit there and go, you know what? Endgame was shit compared to Infinity War. I mean, dude, that's how I feel. But am I sitting there talking about it 24/7? Like, no, nobody fucking talks about Endgame realistically, right? When's the last like editorial or think piece about Endgame?
It's all about Infinity War, because it was superior to Endgame. It was.
Yeah. Well, and to piggyback on your again on the food analogy, but specifically with the sushi,
it's a hot dog.
When we lived in Chicago, my wife and I had our favorite sushi place. We'd go, and we always wanted to sit at the bar because we could. The guy there was phenomenal, and we didn't know the menu because we would just tell him like, we want to know what you want us to try. And it was way more interesting than ordering, because it's a sushi menu. Like, it's not like drastically different than anywhere else. But if we would just tell him like, keep it coming with whatever you want to make, we would try awesome things that we never even knew we would try. And it was stuff that he was coming up because of he was talented and he had a great palate and everything. And we experienced so many different kinds of, so many different roles that we wouldn't have even ever thought to order. And that's why we went there. We went there because we knew that he had a perspective on how this food should be prepared and how it should taste and how he wanted us to experience it. And that's what we went there. We didn't go there because we were like, oh, they've got a great California roll, and I want them to make me that California roll the same way that other place made it. We went there because he was going to make us something that we would never know to ask for in the first place. And that's how I feel about. That's why I like auteur movies, is because I want to see something from somebody's perspective that is not mine.
Interpretations.
And Jay Oliva could do something awesome with animation in the Snyderverse.
Have you seen Dark Knight Returns?
Have you seen Flashpoint Paradox? Have you seen every movie he's ever made?
It's amazing.
You've been kind of quiet. What's up?
Oh, people are blowing me up, sending me updates that apparently I'm being ripped apart, and there's been some kind of expose video about me on other channels that shall remain unnamed.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, and I saw a picture of my family, so that was just
that's terrible.
Yeah, it's something that just caught my attention for a moment.
I get it.
All right, man.
No, you know what? It's all good. Look, it shows. I said everything I had to say today. Yeah. People can go watch it. I laid out exactly what I felt. look, I am in no way some perfect human being. And if you think that I thought that, then there's something wrong with you, which just shows that we're all imperfect because you think that about me. And so, you know, my point in this whole thing is not that everybody's got to succumb to my like morality.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like but of course, but of course, it's all deflection, right? So it's all deflection. So it's like, oh, well, you called me on something that I said that you didn't like what I said. So I got to say something bad about you now, you know? And the thing is that just goes in a vicious circle. And that's why I really wanted to end that, you know, like I'm not going to make like whatever was posted today. I'm not going to make some retaliation to. I'm just not going to do it. Look, the last 3 days have been exhausting.
I'm sure.
You know, they've been exhausting. I want to get back to making content for my subscribers, because I'm sure my subscribers are probably sick of hearing me talk about Jody. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sick of talking about Jody. I know that my subscribers defend me and they want the best for me. But that's not, they didn't subscribe. And there's probably some now who subscribe to the channel because I brought him up. But you know, I mean, the people who've been there, they've been there, and that's not fair to them either. If I just go on this thing where I'm going to change my channel to be this, you know, this reactionary channel to somebody who I don't know and who just likes a different form of DC. That's the stupid thing about this whole thing, is like that just vitriol just against somebody just because they like something different than you. You know, my whole thing, the only time I've ever brought morality into this is just for those who watched his video about me and some of the things that he said to me. Like, I just question, you know, like, it's one thing to make a joke. A joke is a joke, right? Like, I saw one of the jokes that they made, like, just because it's in the picture and my wife and I are sitting there, and like, my wife's a beautiful woman, and every once in a while she says something funny, and you know what? The thing that was a joke, I guess, was we said something about her tips. We gave it something about giving a joke about giving a tip or something like that. And the thing is, look, there's jokes. I'm not saying that I would like people. I think it's funny when people have to deflect from their own,
and they'll spin
their own issues. And so now all of a sudden it's like, what, that I ever said that we can't tell a joke and we can't be funny, even if it's maybe, you know, about sexuality or a body part. No, but there's a difference between me making a joke of like, hey, if you want to give a tip, and my wife making a little joke, you know, about that, and it's like a little tee-hee, whatever, and saying, hey, come here because I want to do this to you. Right? Like, you watching, you who made this video, like, I'm telling you now, basically, I want to assault you in a way that is totally derogatory, it's totally inflammatory, and it's totally just uncalled for, you know. And so there's different types of things. And so I just no, you know, I'm like, I appreciate everybody's support because this type of stuff, it's really easy to get sucked into.
Yeah.
You know, it's really easy to get sucked down that rabbit hole. It's like, what, they said this about me, so now I got to say something about them. You know, and like I said, you know, the very fact of like, I didn't go looking for this. The video that he pulled out was literally one thing because I heard something.
Yeah.
And that's what I tried to say in my video today was, look, I made a video. The video, it wasn't like I put out a video that says gay Fisher versus, you know, gay, you know, Jody says Jody claims, you know, he's gay.
Content,
I was commenting about other things, and that came up, and I went, wait, hold on a second. What did he say there? And that's exactly what I said in the video. Like, what did he say there? Like, and I rolled it back, you know, actually, as I'm doing it. And I said, that's interesting. Why is that okay? And that's all I said. And then we moved on. And, you know, but the thing is, like I said today, is that obviously it lends credibility to what I heard, given the fact that this guy heard the same thing and decided to use his platform, which is much bigger than mine, much bigger than a lot of ours, to bring awareness to that. And then other people have the opportunity to listen to that for themselves, you know, and to be able to make a decision and to be able to decide what they hear. And there's a lot more people who heard exactly what I heard. So either we're all crazy, or there's deflection going on, or maybe it's a little bit of both. I don't know. But at the end of the day, in the bigger scheme of things, shouldn't we all just try to be better? Shouldn't we all just like, you know, take, like, I always said, like, I thought that he should have just if it had been somebody about me and somebody had said, hey, you know, Enosh, you said this in your video, and I knew I didn't say it, I'd simply come out like this and just have a discussion and go, hey guys, I know that it may have sounded like I said something. This is what I said, but also I think I've kind of built up some credibility where if something like that happened, I would hope that people would give me the benefit of the doubt. Because I had built up credibility over that time that, hey, I'm not somebody who says these types of things. And
what happened with the part of why your video kind of hit a powder keg is because, like, let's say that's not what he was saying. Let's say hypothetically you heard him wrong. That doesn't mean that he's not that person. And I'm not saying it's okay to lie or smear someone. Not that that's what you did, but not that makes it okay, because like the whole like fallacy of well, we know it's true anyway. But even in his reaction video, he was being homophobic and transphobic and
racist
and all sorts of things in his reaction to you. So even if you heard him wrong, he proved you right. And there's a lie. Like especially on social media, especially I don't have a YouTube channel, so I don't follow as much into this, but there's a lie online with like the whole idea of cancel culture and everything going around that like most of the time, like what you did was not going to end Jody. And what he did back to you was not going to end you. But on social media, people get in this like contest where they're like, I'm going to cancel them. And it doesn't. And well, now you're invested and you have to go back. And then the other person is like, well, I'm going to get canceled if I don't fight back. And so then, and then you get this place where invested. And it's like, you can just, he could have just pretended that he didn't even know that happened and nobody would be talking about it anymore. Maybe.
Exactly.
The only reason anybody even knows that it's a thing is because he went on the most insane rant I think I've ever seen in my life. And it's all over Twitter because he blew it up. Well, I mean, Ray Fisher also blew it up, but it would have been out of the news already. He kept it in the news by flipping it out completely in reaction, which also, even if he didn't impugn himself through his response, the volume of his response, and the fact that people are reacting to you, like the type of person that would react to you in such a toxic way, going after your family and et cetera. Not that there's nothing that you can say that like, well, you should be proud of yourself for that. But but if you're pissing that kind of person off that much, I mean, maybe you did something right. And it's on, not that makes it easier to have to deal with people being trash, but I get people that come at me for different things on Twitter regularly, and usually it's either you see the way they come at you, or you just look at some of their other tweets or online behavior, and you're like, yeah, I don't care about their opinion. Like I suffer fools gladly. Like if that's the type of person that hates me, I must be doing something fine.
Yeah, and the thing is the bigger issue here, I think, is that this is not about me, right? No. This is not about me, and I recognize that this is not about me, because this is really about him trying to somehow call out Ray Fisher.
Yeah.
This is about him trying to get Ray's attention. And I mean, that's been the whole thing from the very beginning, is come on our channel, debate us, talk to us on our terms and all that stuff.
Yeah. Okay, they're peddling the lie that if you come on, we can end this. And it's not going to end it. It's going to hurt Ray. It's going to elevate their promise. Like the channel. I always say the only thing you need to know about YouTube is that upvotes and downvotes are treated identically by the algorithm.
True. That is very true.
All you need to know, and just behave accordingly. What's better than downvoting something is just to
not vote at all.
Turn away, walk away. Anyway, sorry, I know I totally cut you off there. That's what I do.
It's all good.
I mean, it totally makes sense the way that I mean, look at how he's reacting, and look at the way that he just presents himself. I mean, like you said, I mean, you even said in previous videos too, even with Signor, is like it just seems like they just want to rattle the cage to get those, to get those views, to get those get those people showing up at their channel, even if it's like they hate them and they want to just watch to see what they have to say. It's all pretty. It's a sick game, Everything's a sick game. It really is.
I mean, and the thing is, there's always gonna be people who follow
Yeah,
that kind
they're
of
always-
leadership.
But
you know?
I just hate the fact that Jody's like almost like he's trying to build up his army to go against Ray Fisher, and it's not going to
Yeah.
work. I mean, especially when he said, "I believe Joss Whedon, I believe John Berg, I
Yeah.
believe," and it's like, really, man, fuck off.
Well,
You know?
that might have worked a couple years ago, but the thing you find with guys like Jody and Signor is they come from a
Hey, hold on
different
one
era.
second, Steven Scott. You need to go, huh?
Yeah, I think somebody needs a bottle, and I gotta go give this guy
All right,
a
go
bottle.
ahead,
And I
go
think
ahead.
I'm just gonna call it for
Real
the
quick and
night.
exit before we wrap it up.
All right. Of course, you can find me on Twitter at ScottDC27, at DC Film Squadcast, at any of your podcatchers. And of course, you can find the entire network at SquadcastMedia.com.
Congratulations again.
All right, cheers, buddy. Cheers,
Congratulations.
buddy.
Bye, guys.
Wild.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry. Go ahead. He told me that he needed to go. So
Yeah. I love that baby smell, by the way. Like, sorry.
I think Gar's will laugh.
Newborn babies is like, I love the smell of their head. I don't know why.
No, there's a chemical reaction to the brain smelling that.
Yeah.
Is it?
The smell of baby releases oxytocin.
Yeah. Easy there with your
Oh.
wife, Steven. She's gonna
Love
want
it.
another one.
Love it. Yeah.
She
My
looked
kids
like-
stink
like-
now. Yeah.
On Twitter, she was like, when I saw her tweet to Scott, I was like, oh, watch out, Steven. She's gonna want another one.
Oh, it's gonna happen on the swing in the middle of the
Hey.
room.
She's got to do the hard part. I'm not.
No, looks like your game, huh?
No, I'm just saying. Like she will be all excited about it until she's like, okay, let's see. That's gonna be 9 months.
Wait, I gotta do this. I gotta do
I
that.
know,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Uh,
I don't want to do
Yeah.
that.
It's
No,
all
we'll
cute
probably-
until all the work.
yeah.
Anyway, what we were saying, I think Garza kind of ducked out a little bit too, but he's still listening. But what were you guys saying and what we were talking about?
I was saying Jody and Andy are from a slightly older generation of like we're like halfway through switching to like the next generation, I feel like, of like internet content providers or commenters. And this type of thing that we're doing now is very much like what is going to be more common. Whereas the provocateur sort of approach, like look at where Signor came from and just like the what was he? He was Film Junkies, right?
Screen Junkie.
Screen junkies.
I'm Film Junkie.
Movie fights. Yeah.
Screen Junkies, and
Yeah.
so much of their brand was built on the like, I don't know. Some of it was in good fun, but so much of it was like built on the we're gonna say something that we know is gonna trigger a segment of fandom, and it's part of why people came after the Snyder Cut fan base so much. It's because it was such a unified like. You can't. It's hard to go after like Star Wars fans because it's so ubiquitous, but you can signal out like Snyder fans because it's such a specific group of people. It's
Yeah.
small enough that like people can gang up on them, and so it makes them like easy fodder for jokes. And so like their whole thing was like, let's be a little offensive. Let's go after the little guy. Let's go after it. Like, and that worked, and that made them big. But and now they're trying to use like the same strategy to like make themselves relevant again, and it's working like to an extent. But as you can see, like for Jody, it's kind of backfiring in a way. Like the climate changed and they didn't adjust. And they're trying to like, well, maybe more. Like maybe we'll just do what we were doing before, but more of it. And I don't think they're about to go away anytime soon. But people stop paying attention to that. Like someone that's just like trying to suck all the oxygen out of the room now. They want to go somewhere where they Enosh was talking about earlier.
He said Enoch.
I did look. I was remembering that he mentioned that, and so I tried to adjust for it, but I did the wrong one. I think before we came on, you were talking about how people are looking for like a community with their channels, and like that's not a community. Like nobody's proud to be part of that community. There's nothing enlightening or enriching about like being one of their fans. It's just like this hype engine of like, oh, we're gonna trash these other people we don't like, and let's all let's get Ray Fisher on here, and it's like a WWE version of like film commentary. That's part of why the drama is there. Is a lot of it's like posturing fake stuff because people get fired up over that fake like interpersonal drama that's going on.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it becomes like even fake scoops. It's like a fictional alternate reality kind of like people will like we got this covered or whatever. We'll put stuff out there. I'm pretty convinced, not necessarily because they're like trying to fool people, but because it's like, hey, that's a cool fan theory. Let's live in this like alternate reality where we can treat this as somewhat real. Anyway, and so I don't think that's going to keep them relevant for long, but it's just going to keep them in conversation for a brief time, and then hopefully they kind of just go away.
They'll move on to the next thing to trash. Like, there'll be something else to trash, and they'll move on to that. And
that's where with the previous generation of like bloggers, you got a lot of that, where there's a lot of guys that were around in the early days from oh man, I can't even remember what's the Harry Knowles site.
Ain't It Cool News?
Ain't It Cool News and like that stuff. There's a lot of guys
that
did that were like making pretty good money doing like film blogging, like in the early days when there wasn't like a whole lot of competition, and you could just be this kind of unprofessional, like rogue internet person. And you've got guys like Devin Faraci and all of them that came out of that. And a lot of them kind of burned out and went off and did their own thing. But the ones that stuck around didn't know how to monetize when the culture changed, and when they couldn't just be like, there was no longer a market for like a singular voice in writing. And it took a lot of them a long time to figure out how to cultivate this community, like to have a Patreon where they have like, instead of writing a column for HitFix, now they'll have a newsletter that people sign up for on their Patreon, and they write for a community of people who are their patrons. And it's great to see them, that the ones that find it, but it was weird to see them kind of evolving from what film journalism used to be into what it is now, and not being a part of that, like the more clickbait list based kind of, they didn't buy into that. They tried to keep doing their own thing, and it didn't work. And so I think with that generation of YouTubers, you're seeing a similar thing where they're like, where do we belong in this? Like, we're trying to cultivate a community, but it's a community full of people who are defined based on what they hate, not on what they love, which as a fan of The Last Jedi, you'll probably like that.
Indeed.
Yes.
Well said.
The love continues.
The love continues. I think that's a good way to wrap it up, boys. We're going over 3 hours here, and
wow.
I know. It just seems like it just flies by when I'm talking to you guys, with you guys, and everything like that. And Enosh, I appreciate you coming on the Vodka stream. I hope to have you again. You're
absolutely, man.
Yeah, it's been very fun, very in-depth conversation. I'd like to get to know you more. I mean, when we were talking about baseball and batting stance, I mean, we might end up starting a whole live stream about baseball. Who knows?
There you go.
Who never knows? Or the fact that Last Jedi is a good movie. We can start a whole thing.
Imagine that.
Yeah, I
mean, the five of us will watch it.
Yeah, I know, exactly. I don't know.
We'll be there. Gosh darn it! Until the whole world comes around.
We'll be there. Well, okay. Go ahead and plug your channel and everything.
Yeah. So, Poindexter Lounge, Poindexter. Not that point stuff that people try to put on us. It is Poindexter Lounge, and we do all kinds of fun stuff. We do live streams. We do movie and TV reviews and reaction videos. We do watch parties together. We do some commentary stuff. We do live call-in stuff where you can be a part of the action and tell us what you like and what you love. And we welcome all points of view. You know what? We welcome people who love the Snyderverse. We love people who don't like the Snyderverse, and we respect everybody. And that's my whole thing. Is as long as we respect everybody, you know what? We're all good. You're all good with me, and because we're all nerds, and that's what the Poindexter Lounge is. It's a place for nerds, and so we'd love to have you.
Love you. All right,
That's
Mr.
awesome.
Stephen Colbert, go ahead and plug yourself. And you guys didn't drink when he plugged you. How dare you?
Yeah, that's right. Sorry.
Yeah. Come on.
I'm all out.
We're losing
I
it.
know. It's okay.
Yeah, I'm Stephen Colbert. You can find me at SM Colbert on Twitter. You can find Andrew Dice and me talking about Batman v Superman on the Batman v Superman by the Minute podcast, which you can find in any podcatcher, or go to SnyderMinute.com.
SnyderMinute.com. Look at that.
Wait a minute. So there's more now.
There's something new.
Knights of the Cool.
Well, there is Justice League by the
was in
Minute,
the
which
channel.
needs more episodes, but
Okay.
there will be more. I mean, it's gotten a great response. We love doing it. So it's not ending with BVS, and hopefully we'll get to do a lot more.
Nice. That's
All right,
awesome.
Mr. Chris Wong Swenson.
Well, I gotta say, Enosh, I'm very thankful that you've joined the positive DC YouTube community, and that's the reason why I actually made my channel, because there was almost none. It was only Dave the Film Junkie, pretty much, from what I.
Even I wasn't that positive.
And I was so well. You were still, like you love Man of Steel and BVS. So I felt that was a great way to start. But so I'm actually
formed around like this idea of like this conversation that didn't happen, and now it is, and it's great.
And now the Crisis on Infinite stream showcase of positive YouTube channels. I love it. So, awesome. and here's one. This one's a YouTube channel too. I'm Chris Wong Swenson, Ping Pong Flicks, and you can find me on Twitter at Nexus Pong.
All right, cool. Well, cheers, guys. Been a lot of fun as always on the Vodka stream. Appreciate you guys spending the time with us and clicking in and everything. And just be positive, guys. Whatever Snyder wants to do, let's support it. And, whether it's animation, live action, TV, video, whatever the hell it is.
But wait, Dave. What? What if it's not good?
Oh, my God. Why'd you have to say that? Enosh, why'd you have to do that?
What if it's not good?
I'm just asking.
Hey,
what if it's not good?
Hey, I'll watch a flip book that's Snyder. I'll watch that.
Here's the next movie.
Yeah, a flip book.
Cyborg.
Yes.
Yeah.
We need to go back in time with the Flash and fight this whole thing.
Yes.
I'm right there with you, sir. Let's go.
Do something. I don't even care if it's a pop movie, it's a Funko Pop movie. I'm all for it, guys. I think
Boba Fett.
And yes, and then throw in a Boba Fett there too. And I see people talking about Fatal J. I'm sorry you didn't join tonight's stream. Next one for sure. I love you, brother. All right, guys. Well, get some sleep. We'll talk to you later.